starting from Douluo, shocking all the worlds. Welcome back, brave explorers of impossible worlds. We are excited to have you here to continue this odyssey together. Before we continue, everything you'll hear is pure fiction. So please don't try to replicate combat techniques at home. This wonderful story in all its rights belong to its brilliant original author. We are only the messengers of entertainment. Want another dose of adventure? Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single chapter. And if you can't wait, our Patreon has exclusive surprises you'll love. Chapter 176 Calling Me to Work? After all, he was suddenly brought over at night, even the principal and teacher were waiting here. Would it be strange if Tang San felt alright? Seeing Tang San's puzzled expression, Yu Zhigang shook his head and said, "The matter is not serious, but it concerns you, so I called you here to ask for your own opinion." Immediately he said what happened before. At the end, Yu Zhigang said again in a deep voice, "Although Tang Ge said it was fine, that senior Douluo himself asked you to go over and give you some advice on your cultivation. But this matter sounds problematic, so you decide whether to go or not." After listening to the teacher's words, Tang San didn't answer immediately, but fell silent. He didn't expect that so many things had happened since the meal was over, and Tang Ge was also taken away by title Douluo. This was something Tang San never expected. But fortunately, that poison Douluo didn't seem to make things difficult for Tang Ge. It's just that what did Tang Ge say to the other party during the day, so that a title Douluo would guide him to practice so intimately? If only that's the case. What really puzzled Tang San was whether he had spoken to that title Douluo, and why did the other party point him, and specifically named him by his name wrong? Since that title Douluo's name is Douluo, the teacher once said that Du Yan in the royal fighting team who had fought against him in Soto City before was the granddaughter of this title Douluo. The reason why he named him to let him go, could it be that the accusation was false, and the real purpose was to avenge his granddaughter? As if thinking of something bad, Tang San couldn't help but shudder. "Little San, what's the matter?" Seeing the change in Tang San's expression, Yu Zhigang couldn't help but said, "If it's really not possible, then don't go, I'll think of other ways." But Tang San shook his head. "It's okay, since Senior Douluo himself asked to give me advice, I believe that a dignified title Douluo would not be able to deceive a junior. And isn't Tang Ge there too? I felt that if there was a real danger, how could Tang Ge's personality compromise so easily and even deceive me?" Having said that, the original doubts on his face dissipated in an instant, revealing a relaxed smile. This is also the real reason why Tang San chose to go. Seeing this, Yu Zhigang could only nod his head. Since you have already made up your mind, it's not easy for the teacher to say anything, but at any time, you must pay attention to everything, and don't be fooled by the surface. "Well, I remember," Tang San said. Flender, who was not far away, was relieved when he heard that Tang San was determined to go. Under Liu Erlong's urging, he didn't waste any more time, and directly used his martial spirit to condense a pair of wings behind his back, leading Tang San away quickly. In the Sunset Forest, it was still the place where they fought before. With Flender's flying speed, it didn't take too long to bring Tang San back here. Tang Ge and Douluo didn't leave either, they had been waiting here. When they fell from midair, Tang Ge immediately rushed up to meet them. "Dean, Xiaozhen, you are finally here. Tang Ge, I'm leaving Xiaozhen to you. Take good care of him, or I'll have to deal with you." Seeing Tang Ge approaching, Flender hurriedly explained, and left the place in a hurry. It's not that he didn't want to say a few more words, but that if he said any more, the vicious old poison standing in the distance couldn't help but want to do it. Didn't you see that the old poison started to emit poisonous mist all over his body? Flender didn't think that he could gain benefits from a title Douluo alone. It's just that what he said just now made Tang San very speechless. Could it be that in front of Tang Ge, Tang San looked so much like a child who couldn't grow up? Snort. "I don't need Tang Ge to take care of me." So as soon as Flender left, Tang San immediately looked at Tang Ge, and said righteously, "Tang Ge, you called me over suddenly, do you need my help?" "Hey, didn't I tell the dean and the others? Senior Douluo happened to be free, so I called you over to let him give us some advice on our cultivation. Let's go, I'll take you to see Senior Douluo." Tang Ge smiled and put his hands on Tang San's shoulders directly. Regardless of his resistance, he turned around with his arms around him and walked towards Douluo, who was always putting on a stern face, 7 or 8 meters away. It's just that the two just came to the front when Douluo suddenly spoke. I heard from Tang Ge that you are a master poisoner and also very good at detoxification, so I asked him to call you over to help me see if the poison on my body can be detoxified." These words were so direct that Tang San was caught off guard and immediately froze. "Let me detoxify, what's the situation?" It took a while for him to come back to his senses, and he couldn't help but tentatively said, "Didn't you say that you called me here, senior, to teach me how to practice? Since you are a master at using poison, the old man uses your own body as the material to let you detoxify. Isn't this pointing to you?" Douluo raised his eyebrows, and said with a haughty expression. It looked like it was a great honor for others to detoxify him. Even Tang Ge almost couldn't help but burst out laughing. But aware of Tang San's angry gaze, he quickly endured it, and said seriously, "Little San, Senior Douluo is right, this is indeed a rare opportunity. And Xiaodan, think about it, where in the world is there a titled Douluo who would be so generous to use his body to train you? After all, we should also thank Senior Douluo. Listen. Does this speak human words? It was agreed to call me to let titled Douluo teach me how to practice, but when he came, it turned out that he asked me to help titled Douluo detoxify, and the co-author was to ask me to work. In the end, the poison on titled Douluo's body was cured, so I have to thank you again." Tang San's face gradually darkened. It's just that he can't be sure now that the titled Douluo in front of him did it alone, and Tang Ge was only threatened, or whether Tang Ge also knew about it and did it on purpose. But one thing cannot be denied. Douluo, who was titled Poison Douluo, was indeed poisoned. If he hadn't been suppressed by the surging soul power, his terrifying toxin would have already killed him. A master drug player almost poisoned himself to death in the end. This situation can't help but make people feel ridiculous. Tang San was silent for a moment, then faced Douluo directly, and said lightly, "I can feel the poison on Senior, but it's not sure whether it can be cured. And even if it can be solved, does Senior think that I can do nothing with my empty hands? I need all kinds of herbs if I can." "Oh? Do you need medicinal materials?" Douluo raised his eyebrows, a strange color flashed in his eyes. Then he turned around and walked forward with his hands behind his back. Then his voice came again. "Come on, the old man will take you to a place with medicinal materials. I just hope that the old man will not be disappointed by then, otherwise no one will be able to save you." End of this chapter. Chapter 177. Tang Ge, you are so kind. Hearing Douluo's words, Tang Ge still didn't understand that the other party was finally going to take them to the other party's private back garden. Tang Ge was full of anticipation when he thought about the ice and fire Liang AI and various fairy medicines inside. He has worked hard for so long, and he came here for Douluo's back garden. If he didn't know the exact location, how could he waste so long here? As for calling Tang San over, it was just a cover for free labor. Of course, the sweetness still has to be given. So looking at Tang San with an ugly face, Tang Ge couldn't help laughing and teasing. "What? I started to blame you, brother Tang, in my heart for tricking you here, is not it?" Tang San asked back with a cold face. When Tang Ge heard it, he immediately covered his heart with his hands, pretending to be distressed and said, "Little San, is that how you look at brother Tang? Do you know how much you, brother Tang, and I paid for infiltrating the enemy and finding that treasure land? And I did this just to bring back some cultivation resources for you and your classmates, Xiaodan, to help you catch up with me as quickly as possible, so as to prepare for the Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy competition a year later. In the end, Xiao-san, you actually look at me like that? Could it be that I really did something wrong?" Speaking of this, Tang Ge squatted on the ground immediately, looking very lonely. Originally, Tang San thought that Tang Ge was acting. After all, after he understood Tang Ge's shamelessness, he could always do things that others would not do and had no shame in doing. But listening to the other party's words to the end, even Tang San couldn't help feeling guilty for those words from the bottom of his heart. Maybe the other party was really threatened. For a moment, he couldn't help but said to Tang Ge, "Sorry, I was in a hurry to speak out just now. Tang Ge, don't take it to heart. Just what kind of treasure is that place you mentioned? Is it worth our risk?" Tang Ge squatted on the ground, wiped away the tears shed because of the unbearable suffocation of laughing with his hands, and slowly stood up from the ground. Hearing Tang San's inquiry, he immediately nodded heavily. "Don't worry, little San. When we get to the place, we will definitely give you a big surprise. Let's hurry up and don't offend that old poison, okay? Let's go." Tang San also stopped thinking about it at all, agreed, and together with Tang Ge quickly chased after the figure in front. The sunset forest is very big, although it is not as big as the Star Dao forest, but there are also traces of thousand-year-old soul beasts in it. However, intimidated by Douluo, the title Douluo's aura, Tang Ge and Tang San followed him all the way, and all the soul beasts they encountered on the way turned around and ran away. Soon, the three of them came to a cliff. Coming here, Douluo first turned his head to look at Tang Ge and Tang San, and then suddenly jumped down. In mid-air, his martial spirit Jade Phosphorus Snake Emperor had already appeared, dragging him up with his head. I want to see how you guys got off this 1,000-foot cliff. With more and more clouds and fog in front of him, Douluo couldn't help but smile and mutter to himself. It's just that not long after he fell, there was a sudden sound of breaking through the air call out. Immediately afterwards, another black and white afterimage passed through the clouds and mist, flashing down from one side. When Douluo came to his senses, there were no black and white figures. Not only that, but when he looked up again, he saw another figure. It was Tang San, who was called by Tang Ge to detoxify himself. At this moment Tang San had already used the external spirit bone 8 spider lances, as if turning into a real spider, using the 8 spider spears to stab into the rock wall and lead him down steadily. Seeing this scene, Douluo's eyes froze suddenly, and he couldn't help being secretly surprised. This kid actually has an external soul bone. Senior, hello. Seemingly aware of Douluo's gaze, Tang San, who was climbing down, paused slightly, and immediately greeted him. But when Douluo heard it, his face suddenly became gloomy. Snort. How dare you show off in front of this old man? I want to see how capable you are. Thinking of this, he waved his sleeves directly, and the soul power instantly turned into a gust of wind after surging out. Before Tang San could react, his whole body was swept by this gust of wind and dragged off the rock wall. Because of the loss of support, he fell even more quickly. Seeing this scene, a satisfied smile appeared on Douluo's face. Then he followed and fell, in case the kid really fell to his death. Call. The wind blew by his ears. Although the falling Tang San didn't expect Douluo to attack him suddenly, he didn't panic. Seeing that it was getting closer and closer to the ground, there was something extra in his hand. It was the Flying God Claw. Call out, puff. As Tang San activated the Flying God Claw, a thick and long iron hook immediately flew out and ruthlessly pierced into the rock wall in front of him. Hearing the oscillating sound of the air, the Flying God Claws straightened instantly, grabbing Tang San, who was falling extremely fast. Then Tang San flicked the rope slightly, and climbed onto the rock wall again. Until then, he breathed a sigh of relief. But thinking of Tang Ge leaving himself to fly down alone, Tang San couldn't help complaining in a low voice. Tang Ge, if I don't find the treasure lands you mentioned after I go down, when I have a chance to go back to the village, I will tell the village chief grandpa that you are colluding with the bad guys and killing people in the same village. Immediately, he began to climb down with the help of the external spirit bone 8 spider lances. At the same time, in order to guard against the sneak attack of the Yinbi old poison, Tang San never took it back after taking out the Flying God Claw. In this way, time passed unconsciously. When the cloud and mist disappeared in front of him, Tang San, whose spirit power was almost exhausted, finally went down to the bottom of the mountain. Seeing Tang San's figure, Douluo, who had already fallen down, thought of the scene he had just witnessed, and a strange look flashed in his eyes. This kid, good tricks. But Tang Ge ran over suddenly, and before Tang San could react, he stopped him and flew into the air. Tang San, look quickly, I didn't lie to you, here's the treasure land I mentioned. Being hugged by a big man, Tang San instinctively wanted to struggle. But when he heard the other party's excited words, he couldn't help but look down. Then Tang San stared suddenly full of disbelief. Is this Binghuo Yunayan? And, there are Star Ns Zuan Binkeo and Luhuo Zinjia Oshu? That is Lovesick Heartbroken Red. In the valley below, what caught his eyes was a huge lake. The lake is divided into two strangely from the middle. One side is full of cold air, and the other side is boiling with hot air. In addition, a large number of precious medicinal materials grew on the ground surrounding the lake. Among them are many immortal medicines that even Tang San has only heard of. He originally thought that Tang Ge was lying to himself, but he didn't expect what the other party said was true. And what kind of treasure is this place? It is clearly a fairy valley. But it is such a precious place, Tang Ge is willing to share it. For a moment, Tang San couldn't help being extremely moved. He looked at Tang Ge and couldn't help but said, Tang Ge, you are so kind. End of this chapter. Chapter 178. Emma, so nasty. Hearing Tang San's words, Tang Ge shuddered suddenly, and almost couldn't help the nausea in his heart and threw the other party out directly. But he endured it in the end, shook his head and said, no matter what, Tang Ge, I'm already satisfied if I can help Xiaozhen and my classmates. It's just that there are many medicinal herbs down there, and the spring water that is hot on one side and cold on the other is also very strange. I don't know about this, I don't know about Xiaozhen, do you know? Speaking of this, Tang Ge's eyes revealed a hint of curiosity appropriately. When Tang San heard this, he couldn't help but nodded excitedly. I really didn't expect that Senior Douluo would hide such a good place, especially the ice and fire yin-yang eye, which is completely a natural cornucopia. If I'm not mistaken, the reason why Senior Douluo is safe despite being poisoned is that he was suppressed by this ice and fire yin-yang eye. As soon as he mentioned the domain knowledge he had mastered, Tang San immediately began to talk with eloquence. Immediately, as if he was afraid that Tang Ge wouldn't understand, he tried his best to make his explanation as simple and straightforward as possible, and talked about the medicinal properties of the fairy grass that grows with the ice and fire yin-yang eye. Before they knew it, the two had fallen from mid-air to the ground. Smelling the scent of fairy grass in the air, Tang San was almost intoxicated by it. The smile on his little face never disappeared from the very beginning. This valley is an extremely hard-to-find treasure land in his Tang Sex Zuanshan treasure record. Among them, the medicinal materials include snow silkworm, cinnabar lotus, chrysanthemum, 8-petal fairy orchid, coxcomb phoenix sunflower, kilo tulip, acacia heartbroken red and yaoxiang kilo fairy product, etc. Everything is aged. If a soul master takes the herbs corresponding to his own attributes, he will definitely experience the speed of soul power improvement like riding a rocket. Looking at the plants of immortal grass and medicine in front of him, Tang San felt that he was about to suffocate with excitement. If he didn't know that Tang Ge told him this place, and that poison Douluo was there, he really wanted to put all the immortal herbs and medicines into the soul tool. At some point, Douluo's imperial emissary Wu Han flew over. Looking down at Tang San and Tang Ge who were looking at this and that in his back garden, it was as if he had never seen anything before, and he felt extremely proud. Snort. What is the soul king of the 12-year-old Quan Wu Hai soul ring, and what is so great about having a soul bone attached to it? The old man is a titled Douluo. Seemingly also aware of Douluo's arrival, Tang Ge, who was listening to Tang San's explanation, couldn't help raising his head, with an expression of admiration intentionally on his face, and he spoke in amazement. Senior Douluo, you are really amazing. I heard from Xiaozhen that your place is a rare treasure. Well, that's it. Hearing Tang Ge's words, Douluo felt that his vanity was satisfied, and his tone became much gentler. He nodded, glanced at Tang San next to Tang Ge, and asked, since you have been watching for so long, does your classmate already have a way to understand the poison in the old man's body? Little San, Senior asked you, is there any way? When Tang Ge heard it, he seemed to be more anxious than Douluo himself, and hurriedly urged Tang San. Tang San, who was still intoxicated by many fairy herbs, finally came back to his senses. He took a deep breath to calm his excited mood. Recalling what happened during this period of time, he couldn't help but secretly smile bitterly in his heart. Because after all, the two of them grew up in the same village. So even if Tang San didn't fully understand Tang Ge's character, he could still get a rough idea. Thinking about it now, he knew that he was cheated by this guy again. The other party's acting was too strong, and I was so pitiful that I still foolishly believed it, and said such nasty words as Tang Ge, you are so kind. Looking back now. Vomit. Tang San suddenly had the urge to vomit. But fortunately, he wasn't the only one who fell for Tang Ge's tricks. Looking up at Douluo who was captured by Tang Ge's nice words, Tang San finally felt a lot more balanced in his heart, and he spoke after thinking about it. Senior's place is indeed a unique treasure land, and the herbs that this junior needs are also available, so I already have some thoughts in my heart. But after all, the toxins in the senior's body have already accumulated deeply, and the preparation of the antidote needs to be cautious, and the slightest carelessness may backfire. So I also ask the seniors to give some time for the juniors to think about it to determine the best treatment plan. Speaking of this, as if to convince Douluo, Tang San even pointed to the ice and fire yin-yang eye with a confident smile on his face. And if the junior guessed correctly, the senior can suppress the backlash of toxins in the body, Most of the time it is because of relying on the spring water, okay? This little guy can even see this? Douluo, who was still skeptical at first, heard Tang San's words. His eyes froze suddenly, revealing a hint of surprise. Now that he knew this, he didn't ask any more questions, nodded and said, "Since you need time, I will give you a few days, and the two of you will stay here to find ways to detoxify the old man. Remember, that spring water is extremely cold and hot, so don't try to get close to it, otherwise don't blame the old man if you die. There are also powerful soul beasts outside the valley, so don't go out of the valley if you have nothing to do. The old man will come back in a few days." After finishing speaking, regardless of whether Tang Ge and Tang San agreed or disagreed, Douluo directly commanded the martial soul Jade Phosphorus Snake Emperor, rose into the sky and gradually disappeared into the clouds and mist. After a while, after confirming that Douluo had really left, Tang San and Tang Ge breathed a sigh of relief. Thinking of what the other party said when he left, Tang San couldn't help but smile slightly. Although Douluo is a titled Douluo, compared to his knowledge of the ice and fire yin-yang, he thinks that no one can surpass him in this aspect. So unless he is a fool, how could he easily let himself touch the spring water in the eyes of Binghuo Liangai? Looking for death? As a result, as soon as he thought of this, a figure suddenly flashed past Tang San's eyes. When he realized it, he saw that it was Tang Ge who ran out, and his direction was the eye of ice and fire, which would kill him if he touched it. What happened? Is Tang Ge crazy? The frightened Tang San couldn't help shouting immediately, "Tang Ge, don't go there." But it's a pity that Tang Ge didn't seem to hear Tang San stop. Not only did he quickly pass through the area shrouded in extreme cold and extreme heat, but he even jumped up and jumped into the eyes of the ice and fire Liangai with a plop. It wasn't until this moment that Tang Ge remembered that someone seemed to call him just now. He looked back at Tang San, who was in a daze on the shore in the distance, and asked, slightly puzzled, "Little San, what did you just say?" "No, nothing. It's just Tang Ge. Are you okay in there?" Because of the shock, Tang San's mouth became uneasy. Ask for a monthly pass. End of this chapter. Chapter 179 Big Secret. Tang San just thought that a fool would die and touch the spring water in the eyes of Binghuo Liangai without preparing anything. As a result, in the blink of an eye, he saw Tang Ge jump directly into the spring water a few times. But the terrifying extreme cold and extreme heat on the way did not affect the other party in the slightest. This made Tang San's heart full of shock. It wasn't until this moment that he watched Tang Ge fall into the center of the ice and fire Liangai, looking as comfortable as if soaking in a hot spring, and finally understood why the other party could withstand the pressure brought by the 10,000-year soul ring. Even the extreme cold and extreme heat power of the ice and fire Liangai can't help the opponent. How terrifying the strength of this physical body must be. For a moment, Tang San felt envious and jealous in his heart. In the eyes of Binghuo Liangai, a system prompt sounded in Tang Ge's mind at the right time. Ding dong, congratulations to the host, you shocked Tang San, and got 1,000 shock points, yo, not bad. Seeing the shock value that was approaching the, mark again, Tang Ge couldn't help but a flash of satisfaction flashed in his eyes. Immediately he waved to Tang San, who was frightened by him on the bank, with a smile. "It's so comfortable to take a bath here, come together." No need. Tang San shook his head hastily. His body can't compare with Tang Ge's. If he continues like this, even if he has 9 lives, it's not enough to waste. But in front of the extreme natural environment, there must be something that can overcome it. So Tang San immediately used the purple demon eye to observe the surroundings. Sure enough, he soon found what he needed. Extremely cold immortal grass and mysterious ice grass. The extremely hot jelly grass and fiery apricot are delicate. These two kinds of celestial grasses were bred by the Binghuo Liangai in cold extreme ice spring and blazing hot yang spring respectively. If one of the immortal herbs was taken alone, the result would still be sudden death. But if the two kinds of fairy grasses are used at the same time, they can clearly condense the power of extreme cold and extreme heat in the body, forming a strange balance. Then with the help of their medicinal power, you can enter the ice and fire Yangai to temper your body. So when Tang San discovered these two extreme fairy grasses, he couldn't help being extremely excited. Although there are many fairy grasses here, they are also accompanied by extreme toxins and an extremely harsh environment. If you can get these two kinds of fairy grass, you can not only temper your body, but also resist the erosion of toxins, so you can stay here for a longer time. So no matter what, don't let this rare opportunity go to waste. Thinking of this, he stopped hesitating immediately and started to prepare for the two kinds of grasses before taking action. At the same time, Tang Ge, who had already entered the eyes of Binghao Liangai, naturally discovered Tang San's move to seek the star anise Zuan Binghao and Luo Xinjia Oshu. But he didn't stop him, and put all his thoughts on Binghao Liangai. In other words, when he came to this treasure land, Tang Ge had already discovered it. Although Tang San said the immortal medicine and fairy grass growing all around were very mysterious, but the medicinal power was actually just that. It's not even as good as the soul power boosted by him absorbing a few top-grade spirit stones. What's more, the reason why so many celestial herbs and medicines grow in this valley is all due to the ice and fire yin-yang eye. If there is no Binghao Liangai, the treasure land will no longer be a treasure land. It can be seen that the ice and fire Liangai is the most precious existence here. Thinking in his heart, Tang Ge plunged into the spring water and began to dive continuously. The two extreme forces of ice and fire are like huge waves on the sea, rushing towards him continuously. Even with the physique of the ancient sacred body, Tang Ge felt a little bit of pain as these two extreme forces invaded his body. The surface of his body formed a strange picture of half red and half blue. But for Tang Ge, this is far from reaching the limit he can bear, and he can continue to dive. In this way, the extreme cold and extreme heat coming from all around became more and more terrifying, and Tang Ge was getting closer and closer to the bottom of the spring. At some point, the meteor tears in his heart were stimulated and began to release life energy continuously. Under the restoration of these life energies, Tang Ge's body, which had been eroded and torn by the extreme cold and extreme heat, quickly recovered as before. Under the crimson and azure blue rays of light, his skin became more and more translucent like jade. This is also the real reason why Tang Ge dared to fall into the eyes of ice and fire Liangai. It can be said that as long as there are meteor tears, even if his ancient holy body can't resist the attack of the two extreme forces, he doesn't have to worry about his life at all. As for Douluo, even if he is a titled Douluo, he probably wouldn't dare to dive into the spring as brazenly as Tang Ge. At last, after another period of time, Tang Ge, who was sinking extremely fast, only felt his feet pause, followed by a sense of solidity. The bottom of the ice and fire Liangai spring has arrived. But at the same time, there were bursts of extreme oppressive force and a terrifying atmosphere in all directions. When Tang Ge endured the pain of being constantly torn and recombined, he opened his eyes and saw the scene in front of him. Even though he was prepared, he couldn't help but gasp in shock. At the bottom of the Binghao Liangai spring at this time, there are no so-called caves and ravines, let alone any life. Instead, there are two ancient dragons that are entwined with each other. These two ancient dragons, one red and the other blue, have most of their bodies sinking into the bottom, only partly exposed, but they still form an endless wonderland of mountains. If it weren't for the fact that they had been dead for countless years and had already lost their vitality, Tang Ge probably couldn't help but use the Zuxian sword immediately. It can be seen that these two ancient dragons definitely surpassed the existence of titled Douluo during their lifetime. After trying to take a deep breath to calm down his turbulent mood, and looking at the corpse of Gulong in front of him, Tang Ge's eyes were filled with scorching light. The rumors turned out to be true, and the ice and fire Liangai was actually conceived from the corpses of the 9 great dragon kings, the Ice Dragon King and the Fire Dragon King, who fell at the same time. It's no wonder that there are so many fairy grasses and fairy medicines around the Binghao Liangai. Because Tang Ge didn't know much about what happened in the Douluo Continent after that, although he had heard about the background before the formation of the ice and fire yin-yang eye, he was not sure. As a result, seeing the extreme cold and hot power emanating from the two ancient dragon corpses in front of him, he was sure that the ice and fire yin-yang eye was the most precious place. If it is allowed to continue to exist, in countless years from now, not to mention the plethora of celestial herbs and medicines, among them, there may even be soul beasts with 10,000 years or even 10 years appearing. So this ice and fire yin-yang should be in my own hands no matter what. Tang Ge couldn't help making a decision in his heart. It's a pity that his current soul power is not enough. If he reaches the soul saint level and activates the martial soul avatar, he will be able to restore the power of the world in the picture to the picture of Shamshiji. At that time, once the mountains and rivers come out, let alone moving the entire ice and fire Yangai, Even moving mountains to fill the sea will not be a problem. Of course, it's too early to think about this, so Tang Ge shook his head and directly withdrew his thoughts, flying around. Ask for a monthly pass. End of this chapter. Chapter 180. Devour, refining, absorb. Forget it, don't think about it, let's practice first. Feeling the increasingly terrifying pressure from the surroundings, the damage caused by the extreme cold and extreme heat almost exceeded the recovery speed of meteor tears. Tang Ge frowned and sat cross-legged on the ground. Below his body were the corpses of 2 ancient dragons, and the surging energy emitted quickly enveloped the surrounding area. Such a unique cultivation environment is simply not too exciting. As Tang Ge operated the furnace of hell, a powerful devouring force was released from the furnace immediately, and began to frantically absorb the energy emitted by these ancient dragon corpses. After refining these energies, he used them to raise his soul power level. After all, the amount of resources required by the ancient Eucharist is too terrifying. Although every point of improvement will undergo a qualitative change, it is still too slow. But even so, under the pressure of extreme cold and extreme heat, the life energy released by meteor tears repaired Tang Ge's body while still promoting the awakening of his ancient holy body to slowly increase him. In less than a moment, Tang Ge felt that his soul power, which had only broken through for a short time, had reached its peak again under the full load of the foundation furnace. As he controlled the soul power to make a sudden impact, the original soul power level of 54 also instantly became level 55. What a fast speed! What a strong ability! If you keep improving at this speed, I'm afraid it won't be long before I have to look for the 6th spirit ring, right? For a moment, Tang Ge's eyes were filled with anticipation. But just when he was about to continue devouring energy to improve his soul power, suddenly there was the sound of a Ang dragon groaning in his ears, and then 2 little dragons, one red and one blue, flew out from the corpse of the ancient underground dragon. Dragon soul? This thought involuntarily appeared in Tang Ge's mind. But before he could think about it, the 2 little dragons, which were tentatively in the form of dragon souls, quickly grew in size, becoming more than 10 meters long in the blink of an eye. After the 2 dragon souls became bigger, they danced their bodies, set off waves, and roared angrily. Immediately afterwards, their pair of dragon eyes, which were empty and full of resentment, locked on Tang Ge, and after the terrifying dragon power was continuously emitted, they rushed over suddenly. The power of extreme cold and extreme heat entangled together, forming a blue and red dragon spear. This dragon spear is so powerful that even the titled Douluo would be terrified when facing it, and dare not resist it head-on. But Tang Ge snorted coldly when he saw this scene. Come out to make trouble even after you're dead. If that's the case, I'll send you to reincarnate. After saying that, he saw him waving his right hand lightly, and the martial spirit 4 swords of Jade Immortals, which had not been used for a long time, finally showed the power of its innate spiritual treasure once again. Just a trace of sword energy was released, turned into sword light and collided with that dragon spear, and thousands of sword lights erupted instantly, hold head high, puff puff, puff puff. Accompanied by the shrill dragon roar, the dragon spear was torn to pieces without holding on for a moment. The 2 dragon souls also disappeared in the countless sword glows. While the ground was shaking violently, the corpses of the 2 ancient dragons that were originally hidden deep in the ground were also baptized, and sword beams left countless wounds on their corpses. Followed by a steady stream of scalding dragon blood. Tang Ge's eyes lit up when he felt the strong dragon power emanating from these dragon blood, and he didn't even care about his body being torn apart again. He simply manifested the hell smelting in his body directly. The furnace cover was opened. Like a glutton, there was a terrifying devouring power coming out of the endless pitch-black furnace, and it immediately sucked in a steady stream of dragon blood. At the same time, it is also attracted by the ice and fire energy that has been deposited in the eyes of the ice and fire Yang Yi for countless years. Under the continuous supply of energy, Tang Ge's mind was completely restrained, and the only remaining thoughts were devouring, refining and absorbing. After so many repetitions, no matter whether it was his ancient holy body or the level of his soul power, they all began to improve continuously. That's it. Before he knew it, Tang Ge was completely enveloped in the blue-red light curtain, formed by the mixture of ice and fire energy and dragon blood. In the end, there were only bursts of thumping heartbeats and squeaking sounds of blood flowing from the light curtain. Outside the eyes of Binghou Liangai, because of Tang Ge's entry, Tang San also started his own cultivation. It's just that he just happened to get the star anise black ice grass and blazing fires in Jiaoshu, and was about to take them and wait for the effects of the medicine to enter the eyes of Binghuo Liangai. Something seemed to have happened to the originally peaceful Binghuo Liangai. First, Gilulu bubbles came out continuously, and then the entire lake surface boiled. Rumble. Accompanied by the sudden dull loud noise, the valley trembled violently. In the eyes of the ice and fire Yanai, a monstrous wave was set off and rushed to the shore, and its terrifying extreme cold and extreme heat power disappeared, instantly destroying all nearby plants. If Tang San hadn't reacted quickly and escaped in time, he might suffer disaster too. In the end, when he retreated tens of meters away using Ghost Shadow Bewildering Trace, he looked at the boiling ice and fire Liangai in front, his face full of horror. This breath, what did Tang Ge do in there? Just now Tang San clearly felt an indescribably terrifying aura rushing out of Binghuo Liangai's eyes. It was this aura that stirred up the waves in the eyes of Binghuo Liangai. Although it disappeared very quickly, the threat of death like a sword hanging above his head made Tang San break out in cold sweat and his legs trembled in fright. You must know that he almost jumped into the eyes of Binghuo Liangai just now. In the face of such a sudden change, Tang Ge could imagine that after taking Star Anise Zuan Binkeo and Raging Fire Apricot Jiaoshu, once he entered the eyes of Binghuo Liangai, he would have absolutely no resistance. In order to prevent accidents, he stepped back another 7 or 8 meters, and it took a long time for his violently fluctuating heart to calm down. Looking at the still boiling Binghuo Liangai, although Tang San didn't know why this accident happened, he instinctively felt that this matter had something to do with Tang Ge. I just don't know what happened to the other party at the moment. I hope Tang Ge will be fine. After Tang San muttered to himself, his attention was temporarily withdrawn from the eyes of Binghuo Liangai. And because of such a thing, before he was not sure whether Tang Ge was still alive, how dare he use the ice and fire yin-yang to temper his body. But because of such a change, the cultivation environment in this valley has become better. When Tang San could clearly feel his breathing, the spirit power in his body began to become active, and the speed of growth also greatly increased. He simply didn't think too much, and sat cross-legged on the ground and began to practice. With the circulation of Zuanshan Kung Fu, an invisible energy was immediately attracted, surrounding Tang San and slowly entering his body. End of this chapter. Chapter 181. History is always strikingly similar. In the blink of an eye, 2 days passed. Maybe it was because of something, Douluo didn't come back after he left. And the originally boiling ice and fire yin-yang also gradually returned to its former calmness, and there was no longer a terrifying breath released from it. This made Tang San breathe a sigh of relief. Then he seized this time to directly take the star anise ice grass and blazing fire apricot, and after the effects of the medicine were exerted in his body, he also jumped into the eyes of the ice and fire yin and began to exercise his body. In this way, it was not until the morning of the third day that Tang San, who had sunk into the eyes of ice and fire yin slowly woke up, jumped out and landed on the shore. At this moment, he felt extremely relaxed, and he was no longer affected by the poison floating in the entire valley. Not only that, because of the 2 kinds of immortal grasses, coupled with tempering his body in the eyes of ice and fire, Tang San has now even reached the realm of being invulnerable to water and fire. It's just that the original joy in his heart was instantly dissipated when he thought that 2 days had passed without seeing Tang Ge in Binghuo Liangai's eyes. Could something really happen to Tang Ge? Looking at the Binghuo Liangai who seemed to be in no danger anymore, Tang San couldn't help frowning, and said worriedly. Suddenly, a wave of soul power appeared from behind. Then came a familiar voice. 2 days have passed, but have you figured out a way? It was Douluo who came. He made the Jade Phosphorus Snake Emperor, the martial soul, fall slowly from high altitude, and when he saw Tang San, he immediately spoke calmly. Soon, Douluo came in front of Tang San with his hands behind his back. But before Tang San could speak, his brows suddenly frowned. Why are you alone? Where is that little guy Tang Ge? Senior Douluo, please enter the Binghuo Liangai to look for Tang Ge. He has been in there for 2 days, but he hasn't come out. I'm afraid something happened to him. Hearing Douluo's inquiry, Tang San hurriedly said. On the other hand, regarding the sudden change of the Binghuo Liangai 2 nights ago, for some unknown reason, he did not say anything about it. But even so, Douluo was so angry that he couldn't help but cursed out loud. This old man originally thought that this little guy was talented and a man to be made, but he didn't expect his brain to be so stupid. When the old man with the Bingho Liangai left, he said that he must not touch it, because if he touched it, he would die. In the end, you told me that kid entered the ice and fire yin-yang 2 days ago? Isn't it normal that he didn't come out after 2 days? If you died inside, how could you get out? However, although he scolded fiercely, his body flew towards the Bingho Liangai very honestly. When he came to the sky above the Bingho Liangai, a strong energy came over his face, and Douluo couldn't help being slightly taken aback. What's going on? It's only been 2 days since I left. How did this energy increase so much? He is very familiar with his back garden, and he can't hide any changes from him. Douluo was really taken aback by the surging energy emanating from the eye of ice and fire. Could it be related to that kid named Tang Ge? Thinking of this, Douluo frowned, and directly released all the strength of his tidal Douluo. 2 yellow, 2 purple and 5 black soul rings were constantly moving around his body, and under his feet was the hideous and terrifying Jade Phosphorus Snake Emperor. Immediately after the Jade Phosphorus Snake Emperor merged with Douluo, it immediately turned into a green shadow and entered the eyes of Bingho Liangai with a plop. As he dived all the way, Douluo soon reached a depth of more than 10 meters from the lake surface. This depth is also the most suitable depth for him to suppress body pain. It's just that no figure was found around. Douluo stayed for a while and then continued to dive 20 meters, 30 meters, 50 meters. As a tidal Douluo, although Douluo didn't need the help of fairy grass to resist the power of extreme cold and heat, unlike Tang San. But as the depth of entering the ice and fire yin-yang was getting closer and closer to, meters, even he began to feel that he was getting weaker and weaker. The soul power in the body is being consumed at a rapid rate, and the power of extreme cold and heat has also begun to break through the defensive layer of the martial soul. Douluo's entire body was directly dyed half blue and half red. No. Can't go on anymore. Seeing that even he could not persist at this depth, Douluo immediately gave up his plan to continue searching. If that kid can still survive under the erosion of this extreme cold and extreme heat, even identified tidal Douluo can worship him as his teacher. Thinking of this, Douluo didn't dare to hesitate any longer, and immediately turned around and rushed towards the top. Whoa! In the end, with a splash of the waves, he rushed out from the eyes of Bingho Liangai shore. Seeing this scene, Tang San, who had been waiting all this time, couldn't help but step forward, expecting to ask, "Senior, have you found Tang Ge? You still want to find it?" HMPH. That kid has long since died and his bones are gone. Hearing Tang San's relief, Douluo couldn't help snorting. His face was gloomy and scary. After all, he didn't intend to kill people, and in the end, people died on his own. If the other party's identity really came from that place, wouldn't Douluo be infected with an innocent disaster out of thin air? What the hell is this? Thinking of this, Douluo's mood suddenly became very irritable, and when he looked at Tang San in front of him again, no matter how he looked at him, it became more and more unpleasant. He suddenly stretched out his hand, using his soul power to condense an invisible hand and directly grabbed the opponent. Boy, 2 days have passed. Don't tell the old man that you haven't figured out how to get rid of the poison on the old man. The solution is to think about it, but it will take at least half a year to get rid of the poison on your body, Tang San said calmly. Half a year? Douluo frowned when he heard it, and before Tang San could react, he suddenly shot a thick green pill into the opponent's mouth. Cough, cough, cough. Senior, what did you give me? Cough, cough. As the pill was swallowed, Tang San couldn't help coughing violently. His face turned green when he asked. Douluo said indifferently, "This is the pill condensed from the evolution of the old man's Wuhan Jade Phosphorus Snake into the Jade Phosphorus Snake Queen, which contains nearly half of the old man's strength. As long as you obediently heal the old man's body, not only will it not harm you, but it will be of great benefit to your cultivation. But if you dare to hurt the old man's thoughts, once the old man has an accident, this pill will explode in your body. Remember. For the past 6 months, stay here obediently and don't allow me to leave half a step, let alone meet with your Shrek Academy teachers until the old man's body is completely cured." Hearing Douluo's words, Tang San felt it carefully. Sure enough, after the pill was swallowed, the speed of his soul power condensing increased a lot. But this didn't make him feel happy at all, instead his heart sank directly. Is there only half a year left? End of this chapter. Chapter 182. Tang San is not a fool. He will not fail to understand the true meaning hidden in Douluo's words. If the other party only said the previous words, there would be no problem. After all, to prevent him from taking advantage of the opportunity during treatment, it is only natural to make some preparations in advance. But Douluo's request of not allowing him to meet with the teachers directly exposed the other party's intentions. Tang San instantly understood that he only had the last half a year left. As long as half a year passes, no matter whether the poison on Douluo's body can be cured or not, what awaits him is death. Although Tang San didn't understand why the other party did such a horrific thing, he had a vague feeling that this matter must have something to do with Tang Ge, who disappeared immediately after entering the eyes of Binghou Liangai. As for what Douluo said about Tang Ge's dead body and no bones left, he would involuntarily recall the scene of Tang Ge soaking in the hot spring in the eyes of Binghou Liangai before. The power of extreme cold and extreme heat that even titled Douluo had to be careful with seemed to have nothing on Tang Ge. Will Tang Ge really die in the eyes of Binghou Liangai? Tang San didn't believe it. So when he thought of the situation he was in at the moment, he couldn't help but secretly smile bitterly in his heart. Tang Ge, you really made me miserable. I don't ask for anything now, I just ask you to show up as soon as possible safe and sound. Douluo didn't know what Tang San was thinking, but after seeing the changing face of the other party, he immediately snorted. What? Don't you want to? What the seniors say is what they say, how dare the juniors be unwilling? But the juniors also have a condition, Tang San said. When Douluo heard it, the spirit power that imprisoned Tang San tightened in vain, and the pressure it released immediately made Tang San feel so painful that he had no choice but to release the attached spirit bone. After being soaked in the ice and fire Yangai, the 8 spider lances have the power of ice and fire circulating, making it look even more ferocious and terrifying. Seeing the 8 spider lances, even Douluo couldn't help but a flash of greed flashed in his eyes, and said in a deep voice, "Dare to make a condition with the old man? Are you afraid that the old man will kill you right now? If you kill the junior, no one will be able to cure the poison on the senior. If you add the granddaughter of the senior, the junior will be worth dying for." Anyway, he was going to die in half a year. Tang San couldn't be afraid of Douluo anymore, he couldn't help laughing. As soon as these words were said, Douluo's chest heaved violently with anger. He stared at Tang San with cold eyes for a long while, then suddenly he snorted and threw him to the ground, and spoke at the same time. Tell me, under what conditions? Actually, the junior's condition is very simple. When I am dispensing the medicine for you, the senior, you can't peek from the side. This is where I dispense the medicine. Senior, you only need to bring me some food and drinking water every day, and then come here to take medicine at an hour before your onset every night. This is my only condition. If senior doesn't agree, you can kill him at will. Tang San said lightly. This is what he brought up after careful consideration. Although there is still half a year left, he cannot give up his desire to survive. Therefore, he must ensure that his dispensing is not seen by Douluo, in case the other party learns it and kills him in advance. And Tang San believed it. In this treasure land in front of him, as long as he is given half a year to prepare, even if he loses to title Douluo, he can still win a greater chance of survival for himself. And Douluo is not a fool, and immediately heard the deep meaning hidden in Tang San's condition. For a moment, he couldn't help but sigh. If he didn't consider the little guy who seemed to have no bones left in the eyes of Binghou Liangai, this kid in front of him would be a rare genius. It's just a pity. After all, he was killed by that little guy with brain problems. It's just that Douluo himself was also cheated, which made Douluo feel extremely depressed. In the end he glanced at Tang San again, and said calmly, "Get ready early, the old man will come to see your progress tomorrow." After speaking, he left here again. As soon as the person left, Tang San, who had been holding on all the time, seemed to have lost all his strength, and directly collapsed on the ground. On his back, it had already become damp from cold sweat. Even though he dared to speak like that just now, Tang San was really afraid that Douluo would be so ashamed that he would be desperate and slap himself to death. After all, no matter what the other party said, he was also a titled Douluo standing at the top of the continent. But no matter what, everything is still developing in a good direction. After taking a few deep breaths and trying to calm down the violently fluctuating mood, Tang San looked at the lush and precious medicinal herbs in front of him, and Tang San's eyes suddenly glowed with hope. Everything can only rely on these. Immediately, he stopped wasting time, and immediately got up and began to prepare for whether he would still be alive in half a year same time. At the bottom of the lake in the eyes of ice and fire Yanai, which even the title Douluo could not reach, Tang Ge was also cultivating with the help of the majestic energy released by the dragon corpses of the Fire Dragon King and Ice Dragon King. He didn't know that because of his disappearance, Douluo already thought he was dead, and gave Tang San an ultimatum for the last half year. Even the history that was originally changed is being corrected bit by bit. At this time, Tang Ge had completely fallen into a state of deep cultivation, and his body was constantly being torn apart by the extreme cold and extreme heat, and then quickly repaired by the life energy of meteor tears. The repeated torment of being torn and repaired, which almost reached the soul, immediately forced him to close his five senses. So in this state, unless there is a breath that threatens Tang Ge's life, he will not wake up at all. In the sky above Tang Ge's head is the smelting of hell. As the furnace cover was opened, waves of devouring power were released, continuously swallowing the majestic energy pouring in from all around into the furnace. Then these majestic energies were refined into more pure and absorbable energies, and then poured into Tang Ge's body continuously. Immediately, his soul power began to increase rapidly like riding a rocket. Not only that, this is the first time Tang Ge has encountered such a place of great energy. Coupled with the repeated destruction and repair of the body, the ancient sacred body also began to increase its absorption of energy autonomously as if threatened. Under the unscrupulous plunder, his whole body was submerged in the condensed energy in an instant. Among them, one can faintly hear the sound of squeaking blood flow, like the Milky Way falling from the 9 heavens, and even the time is washed away and rushed like crazy 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Before I knew it, half a year had passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, when Tang Ge was still cultivating in the ice and fire Liangai eyes, in the valley full of precious medicinal herbs, Tang San also ushered in his most critical moment. Ask for a monthly pass. End of this chapter. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Period. Chapter 183 The King of Hades tells you to die in the third watch. In the same valley, there are precious medicinal herbs everywhere, exuding a strong aura. One could faintly see a faint mist floating in the air, and mosquitoes could not grow under the mist. Next to the Binghuo Liangai at the foot of the cliff, a figure was sitting cross-legged on the ground, staring intently at a bronze tripod floating in the Binghuo Liangai. It was Tang San, who had been here for half a year. In the past 6 months, he thought that Tang Ge would suddenly appear from the eyes of Binghuo Liangai. As a result, in the waiting every day, there was no trace of the other party. Even if Tang San thought Tang Ge was extraordinary, he couldn't help feeling that the other party would still be alive after such a long time. So in order to win as many chances of survival as possible for himself, during this period, apart from treating Douluo's body, he devoted the rest of the time to training and refining Tangman's hidden weapons. Now in the copper tripod in front of him, what is being forged is a top hidden weapon in the Tang sect that he holds the greatest hope for. Just as he was thinking, Douluo's voice suddenly came from behind. Boy, the old man is here again. Hearing the voice, Tang San didn't pay attention to it, and focused all the time on the bronze tripod in Binghuo Liangai's eyes call. Soon, Douluo, who controlled the martial spirit, fell lightly from a high altitude. When he saw Tang San, who was still here, his brows that were originally tightly furrowed suddenly relaxed again. I didn't get a response from this kid just now. I thought the other party's wings had stiffened and fled away. But what on earth is this kid doing that dares not to answer his own words? Thinking in his heart, Douluo couldn't help following Tang San's gaze, and immediately saw the copper tripod floating on the eyes of Binghuo Liangai. There are some gaps in the lid of the copper tripod, and there is a faint smoke coming out from inside, which looks like poisonous mist. As a Douluo with the title Poison, Douluo is extremely sensitive to poison. So although the purple poisonous mist in front of him had no smell and couldn't tell what its composition was, it made him feel uncomfortable instinctively. It seems that these purple poisonous mist can threaten even his majestic title Douluo. After discovering this idea, Douluo, who believed in his intuition very much, was taken aback. He couldn't imagine what kind of poisonous mist a mere soul master at the soul level was refining, so that even he would feel threatened. Thinking of this, Douluo suddenly couldn't help asking, "Boy, what are you doing? Senior will know later." Tang San didn't look back, just said lightly. If it was half a year ago, when he heard Tang San say this, Douluo wouldn't mind slapping this kid directly into Binghuo Liangai's eyes. But people have feelings. After getting along for half a year, Tang San did his best to heal his body without any tricks. Not only his body was about to recover completely, even his spirit power, which hadn't improved for a long time, was raised by a level. For title Douluo, the difference between one level and another is like a world of difference. So for this alone, Douluo has no reason and doesn't want to kill Tang San. What's more, in the past 6 months, he has seen the other party's superb skills in poisoning. Even in some cognition and application of poison, Douluo is not as good as Tang San. This can't help but make Douluo feel cherished in his heart, and proposes to accept the other party as his apprentice. But it's a pity that the other party refused directly on the grounds of having a teacher. This matter has been making Douluo angry for a while. Now half a year has passed, and the relationship between the two is coming to an end. Douluo couldn't help sighing softly. It would be great if that incident didn't happen in the first place. Immediately he didn't continue to think, but sat directly next to Tang San, quietly waiting. Time passed by every minute and every second, and with Tang San's serious expression, the purple mist emerging from the copper tripod also became weaker and weaker. Even during this period, he used blue silver grass to control the top cover, and placed a lot of poisonous herbs inside one after another. There are some poisons that even Douluo dare not touch directly. This had to make Douluo start thinking wildly. Could it be that the kid in front of him knew that he was going to kill him, so he started trying to poison himself to death? It's just that when he thought of this, not only did Douluo not get angry, but a smile appeared on his face. If the other party really did this, he wouldn't feel guilty if he made a move at that time. Tang San didn't know what Douluo was thinking, nor did he know it psychologically. The refining of the copper tripod has lasted for a day, and today is the second day, and its refining will also enter the final stage. Finally, when the poisonous mist gushing out of the copper tripod turned from purple to white and then black, it paused outside first, and then all of a sudden it was taken back into the copper tripod. Seeing this scene, even the calm Tang San couldn't help jumping up from the ground excitedly at this moment. Success! Did it work? What? Douluo also got up slowly. Hearing Douluo's inquiry, Tang San didn't seem to be afraid of the other party's anger at all, and said with a smile, "Of course it's something that kills people. If Senior is accidentally hit, I'm afraid it's hard to live. Even I can't survive 3 breaths." Tang San's words made Douluo couldn't help constricting his pupils. But immediately he snorted, and said proudly, "Then there must be a chance to hit the old man first. Senior is right. This thing is of no use to Senior." Tang San smiled, and at the same time used the vines transformed from blue silver grass to pull the copper tripod out from the ice and fire yin-yang eye. After another full hour, when the copper tripod had completely cooled down, he stepped forward and carefully lifted the top cover. There's only a very small metal mold inside the copper tripod, and inside are 3 small needles that are only 1 inch long, and the whole body is pitch black. Douluo was looking forward to it, but when he saw this thing, his face suddenly showed disappointment. "So it's just 3 needles? Just 3 needles?" Tang San inexplicably wanted to laugh when he heard it, but in the end he couldn't hold it back. Immediately, he turned the Zuanayu hand directly, and carefully took out the mold. Then Tang San took out a small jade box prepared in advance from the soul guide, carefully poured the 3 small needles in the mold into the 3 grooves in the jade box. Until then, Tang San couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. He looked at Douluo with a disappointed face, and said, "Senior, these 3 small needles are indeed inconspicuous, but their name is Yanwangti, a name that sounds frightening." Yanwang Post. Douluo didn't understand the meaning of the name. Tang San nodded, and explained with a faint smile. "Yanwang means the god of death. You said, the god of death sent you an invitation card, so what are you going to do?" "Of course it is to let you return to the embrace of the god of death. There is another sentence, that is, the king of Hades told you to die on the 3rd watch. Who dares to keep you until the 5th watch?" End of this chapter. Period. Chapter 184 Old Poison, Punch Me. Hades told you to die at the 3rd watch. Who would dare to keep you at the 5th watch? Originally, Douluo didn't understand the meaning of Yan Wang's post, but after hearing Tang San's explanation, he had to admit it. The meaning of this name alone has indeed made people feel chills in their hearts. As for the power of the 3 small needles in the box, I am afraid that only by trying it out can we know its real power. Thinking of this, Douluo smiled lightly and said, "If possible, let me show the power of this Hades sticker." Tang San didn't answer, but directly closed the jade box and put it back into the soul guide. Immediately he shook his head. Yan Wangtai is not made for the seniors, and it will not hurt the seniors. Let the juniors continue to help the seniors prepare the antidote. Hearing Tang San's refusal, Douluo couldn't help but a look of disappointment flashed in his eyes, and he felt a headache again. The next thing is really difficult. But before that, he seemed to think of something, and asked suddenly, "Boy, your surname is Tang, and that little guy with a brain problem is also surnamed Tang. What is the relationship between you?" This is a question that Douluo has kept in his heart for nearly half a year, because he only cared about healing his body before, so he didn't ask. And now he finally had a chance to recognize it. Because in Douluo's heart there is still a sliver of expectation, hoping that the result will be as he guessed. When Tang San heard Douluo's question, he seemed to grasp something, his heart moved suddenly, and he directly raised his left hand. As the soul power fluctuated, a small silver hammer slowly emerged from the palm of his left hand. But soon, Tang San quickly put it away again. Then he calmly explained his identity and relationship with Tang Ge. As for Douluo, as early as the moment Tang San showed his hammer spirit, he was already stunned, so that he didn't even listen to what Tang San said later. It wasn't until Tang San called him that he suddenly came back to his senses. What did you just say, senior? I finished talking, what else do you want to hear?" Tang San looked at Douluo's absent-minded look, pretending to be puzzled. "Are you done?" After Douluo's eyes regained clarity, he suddenly felt that his back was soaked in cold sweat at some point. But then, as if he had been tricked, a sense of anger and shame suddenly poured out from the bottom of his heart uncontrollably. In the end, Douluo soared into the sky and flew directly over the eye of Binghuo Liangai. Looking at the Binghuo Liangai eye below, the words that Tang Ge said to him when he was in Xiandao Royal Academy appeared in his mind involuntarily. "Senior Douluo, since I propose to talk to you alone, do you think I will be afraid that you will kill me? My surname is Tang. Think about it carefully. Is this surname familiar? Did you think of someone?" As these pictures appeared in his mind, Douluo's face immediately became distorted. Until now, he didn't know that his majestic title Douluo was being teased by a 12-year-old kid. When the anger squeezed in his heart could no longer be suppressed, Douluo burst out immediately. "Hateful, damn, how dare you deceive the old man? Even if you don't die, the old man will shoot you to death." Depressed, boom, 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 accompanied by the roar. One after another palms condensed by soul power were slapped on the eyes of Binghuo Liangai by Douluo. The originally calm ice and fire yin-yang suddenly saw huge waves, and the power of extreme cold and heat destroyed everything around, which was extremely terrifying. In the distance, seeing this scene, Tang San couldn't help shivering even more. But his eyes were slightly bright, and he finally solved the doubts in his heart all along. It turned out that the source of everything still came from Tang Ge. After all, Tang Ge's accident may have been unexpected by no one, and Douluo would not let Tang San go for it. But Tang San felt Douluo's killing intent towards Tang Ge because of Tang Ge's accident. Even if half a year passed, he tried his best to heal the other party's body, but it would only improve the relationship between him and the other party. But the killing intent never disappeared. Even before, if Tang San promised to let Douluo experience the power of Yan Wangtai, the other party would definitely take this opportunity to kill him. But Tang San didn't do nothing. Just in the past 6 months he directly or indirectly learned a lot about mainland forces from Douluo. With the help of these news, he vaguely guessed why Douluo killed Tang Ge because of his accident. For this reason, Tang San released his second martial spirit at all risk. It turns out, his guess was right, everything was rooted in Tang Ge and his identity. Now seeing Douluo venting his anger over the eye of Binghuo Yinai like crazy, Tang San felt as if he had lifted the boulder that was pressing on him, and his whole body became relaxed in vain. Rumble. Rumble. The loud bang was still ringing. This time Douluo was obviously completely pissed off, and kept venting in the sky above the Binghuo Liangai eye. The aftermath of the formed power spread downwards deeper and deeper, and finally rushed directly to the bottom of the spring. At the bottom of the spring, a figure was sitting cross-legged, surrounded by dense energy. Above the figure's head, a furnace opened its mouth, swallowing energy continuously suddenly. With a wave force of the spring water rushing towards him, the figure who had stayed here for an unknown amount of time suddenly trembled, and his closed eyes suddenly opened. Above his head, the furnace that was devouring energy also slowly stopped turning, and then directly merged into his body. The strong energy that was attracted suddenly dissipated as if it had lost its support. Looking up at the sky, the gaze of this figure seemed to have penetrated many obstacles, and he directly saw Douluo, who was cursing and going crazy in the eyes of Binghuo Liangai. Is he scolding me? The figure couldn't help muttering to himself. Immediately, his confused eyes slowly returned with his silent thoughts, and began to become brighter and brighter. Finally, the figure stood up from the ground with a bang, and with the strength of his legs, the whole person rushed up like a shell fired from a chamber. Boom, boom, boom. All the way up, the spring water of the ice and fire Liangai, informed by the condensed power of extreme cold and heat, could not stop his body at all, and he rushed out of an unimpeded passage in an instant. Finally, this figure broke through the lake with a bang, and appeared in the sky above Binghuo Liangai's eyes. The powerful aura was released without any concealment, and even the spring water splashing around froze slightly. As for Douluo, who was venting his anger, he was even more taken aback. He backed away quickly and looked at the figure that suddenly rushed out of the water. But when he saw the other person's appearance clearly, he froze for a moment and couldn't help blurting out, "You kid is not dead, ha ha ha, old poison, give me a punch." Ignoring Douluo's shock, the figure that appeared from Binghuo Liangai's eyes immediately burst out laughing. End of this chapter. Chapter 185. Is this still human? The reason why Douluo was so shocked by the figure that suddenly burst out from the eyes of Binghuo Liangai was because the other party was actually Tang Ge, who had disappeared for half a year. Half a year passed. Not only did the other party not die, but the aura emanating from his body became so strong that even Douluo felt extremely strong pressure. One must know that he himself is a titled Douluo. This had to make Douluo wonder, did the other party eat something extraordinary in the eyes of Binghuo Liangai, and that's why he didn't show up until now. Opposite, Tang Ge, who had just rushed out of the eyes of Binghuo Liangai, didn't care what Douluo was thinking. At this moment, he just wanted to have a good fight. After half a year of submerged training, once awakened, there's endless terrifying power surging in the body. Tang Ge didn't look at his body information at this time, but as he clenched his fists, the solid strength of his fists immediately gave him a strong confidence in the air every second of every day. For a moment, Tang Ge couldn't help laughing wildly, and before he fell down in midair, he directly used the word zing, hum. There was a slight tremor in the void around him, and the whole person suddenly disappeared in place, and when he reappeared, he was already in front of Douluo. Old poison, give me a punch. Accompanied by a loud laugh, Tang Ge's clenched fists suddenly slammed out fiercely. Terrifying power was released from his fists, and as soon as he approached Douluo, a shock wave was formed that rustled the dark green gown on his body. There was a crackling sound, and several cracks appeared on his gown. Seeing this scene, Douluo immediately looked shocked, and without hesitation, he surged the surging soul power in his body to form layers of soul power protection around his body. At the same time, he gathered his soul power again, raised his hand and pushed forward, and an invisible palm directly greeted Tang Ge's fist. Rumble. Finally, the fist collided with the invisible palm, and there was a deafening explosion. The aftermath impacted outwards, causing space ripples visible to the naked eye. It's just that what made Douluo unbelievable was that his condensed invisible palm not only failed to stop Tang Ge, but instead made the opponent's momentum rise again. Accompanied by roaring and explosive sounds, the invisible palm was torn apart by Tang Ge's clenched right fist like crisp paper. Then the other party appeared in front of Douluo without slowing down, as if he was not affected by the aftermath. That punch was close to the heart, and the terrifying pressure of death hit Douluo's breathing, and then he suddenly roared out. The Jade Phosphorus Snake Emperor, boom. The aura of the title Douluo erupted in an instant, and at the moment when 9 soul rings, 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 5 black, rose up under his feet, the ferocious and terrifying Wuhan Jade Phosphorus Snake King instantly merged with Douluo 1. At this moment, apart from the fact that Douluo has not yet used his soul skills, his strength is almost at its peak. But the same. Tang Ge's punch that condensed his peak strength finally fell on him. The moment the two collided completely, the valley that was originally echoing with the sound of explosions was silent at first, followed by an even more deafening explosion. The sky above the Binghou Liangai was instantly filled with two kinds of light, golden and green. Even the Binghou Liangai were affected by a suction force, and the lake's surface that had just calmed down became boiling again, and waves began to roar one after another. Seeing this scene, Tang San, who had already retreated tens of meters, was immediately frightened and had to retreat more than 10 meters. He listened to the sound of bang, bang and bang constantly coming from the golden-green light above the eyes of Binghou Liangai. His face was full of disbelief. Am I dreaming? Tang San couldn't imagine that half a year had passed, and he, who had no hope at first, not only saw Tang Ge come out of the ice and fire Liangai alive. The other party gave him a surprise as soon as he appeared wrong. It should be frightening. After Tang Ge launched an attack on Douluo, the terrifying power that erupted from that ferocious fist made Tang San feel tremendous pressure even at a distance of nearly 100 meters. And Douluo, who is a title Douluo, fell into disadvantage from the very beginning. That's the title Douluo. If it wasn't for the ears buzzing with the loud bang, Tang San wouldn't believe that the scene he saw was real. It felt like a dream. In his mind, he even involuntarily recalled the scene that Tang Ge, who was only 6 years old, could kill the soul beast Mandala snake with his bare hands when he obtained his first soul ring. Now that Tang Ge is 12 years old, he has managed to hit the title Douluo again. This is simply something Tang San didn't even dare to think about. Just as he was thinking, accompanied by another dull crash, a figure suddenly flew upside down from the area intertwined with golden and green light. It was Douluo who had activated his soul ring. At the corner of his mouth, traces of blood oozed out unexpectedly. As soon as he thought that he would be injured in the hands of a half-grown child, Douluo's heart surged with tyranny uncontrollably. His originally dark green eyes had turned extremely red, and he couldn't help roaring angrily. Boy, do you really think the old man can't do anything to you? Just at this moment, another figure rushed out from the golden-green light. Seeing that the 9 soul rings around Douluo's body began to shine brightly one after another, it was clearly a tendency to activate powerful soul skills. Tang Ge, who had already used his wings of yin and yang, shouted quickly. Senior Douluo, this boxing exchange is over, don't be impulsive, you had so much fun beating the old man just now, why didn't you stop? Now that the old man is about to scale up his moves, you are starting to admit that you really think that the old man is made of mud and can be rubbed at will? Douluo was so angry with Tang Ge's words that his face became more ferocious and terrifying. He actually directly used his martial soul avatar, and his whole body directly transformed into a tens of meters long emerald green snake. But just when he was about to rush over and swallow the opponent in one gulp, suddenly there was a terrifying aura that instantly locked him in, as if a mountain had fallen on him, causing his entire snake body to sink immediately. At the same time, the sky in the entire valley suddenly darkened. A strand of dark clouds came over, covering the sky and blocking out the sun. The opposite is tens of meters away. Tang Ge had a calm expression on his face. But as the terrifying power in his body continued to swell outwards, coupled with the activated heavenly god fist and the silent word zing, the space around him trembled violently. Rumble. Facing the sky above Tang Ge, thunder suddenly appeared in the dense clouds, and there were bursts of dull thunder. When Douluo, who had turned into a big green snake, looked over, he could clearly feel that the terrifying aura that had been locked on him was actually released from Tang Ge. Moreover, the pressure brought by this terrifying aura filled Douluo with horror. He feels it. If you move again, you will definitely die. At this moment, even though Douluo, who was extremely arrogant in the past, couldn't help but feel extremely bitter in his heart. 12-year-old kid. Is that human being? End of this chapter. Chapter 186. I want this place. On the opposite side, in mid-air more than 10 meters away, under the shadowy clouds, Tang Ge's clenched right fist was half raised. The terrifying power was condensed, but it still released a strong oppressive force. Even weirder. There seems to be an illusory figure emerging behind him. Not only does it look the same as him, its figure sits there, surrounded by a mysterious and yellow aura, looking down at the world, more like a fairy king born. Faced with such a strange image, Douluo, who had turned into a big green snake, suddenly had the feeling of Iman and, feeling powerless in his heart. 12-year-old kid. Is that human being? After a moment of silence, Douluo finally listened to Tang Ge's opinion, and suddenly withdrew his martial soul and returned to his human body, and he completely restrained the surging soul power that fluctuated violently. After falling from mid-air to the ground, He looked up at Tang Ge, and then struggled hard to maintain his majestic title Douluo image. HMPH. The old man is not the kind of person with a small belly. I will forgive you this time. Come down quickly. Senior Douluo, Go Yi, is indeed a role model for my generation to learn from. Tang Ge suppressed a smile, clasped his fists and said. Immediately afterwards, he also dissipated his aura, and the phantom behind him also disappeared, and the wings of yin and yang flew down with him. The tense situation in the valley suddenly returned to its previous calm. The cloudy clouds that gathered in the sky, after a few bursts of unwilling roaring sounds followed by the thunder, finally dispersed and disappeared quickly because they lost their target. Seeing this, Tang Ge immediately let go of the heart he had been holding on, and couldn't help but secretly slander. This day is too sensitive. Then he seemed to think of something, and suddenly smiled and looked at Douluo, who was a few meters away with a straight face, and said, Senior Douluo, when I came out of the ice and fire yin just now, I seemed to see you swearing scold me. When Douluo heard this, his already stern face instantly darkened. Like a lion whose tail has been stepped on, he said angrily, I'm in a bad mood and I can scold whoever I want, it's none of your business. Besides, you disappeared for half a year, and you are already a dead person in the eyes of the old man. Will the old man be too busy to scold a dead person in a panic? Tang San, what the old man said makes sense? After finishing speaking, Douluo turned his head and looked at Tang San, who was watching a play in the distance. His green eyes were filled with a vicious intention of I will beat you if you shake your head. Tang San, who was implicated innocently, had no choice but to smile wryly and nodded. Senior is right, HMPH, did you hear that? The old man is right. After getting Tang San's support, Douluo couldn't help but look a little satisfied, and looked at Tang Ge proudly. Tang Ge shrugged. Well, even if you are right, Senior, what do you mean even if I am right? What I said made sense. Douluo felt that if he continued to talk about this topic with the kid in front of him, sooner or later he would be pissed to death by the other party. So he took the initiative to change the subject, and finally there was some curiosity on his stern face, and asked, Boy, half a year has passed, have you been in the eyes of Binghuo Liangai? Of course, otherwise where would I be? Tang Ge said casually. But Douluo was very dissatisfied with this answer and couldn't help asking. However, as early as half a year ago, the old man entered the ice and fire yin at a depth of nearly, meters, and he didn't find your figure at all. How should you explain this? Could it be that you still want to tell the old man that you can dive deeper than the old man? In other words, there is a secret in the eyes of the ice and fire Liangai that the old man does not know, but it happened to be met by your kid, so the old man didn't find you at the beginning? What he said not only expressed his doubts about not finding Tang Ge at the beginning, but also wanted to find out the real reason why the opponent's strength had suddenly increased so much. This is because the target is Tang Ge. If it were someone else, Douluo wouldn't talk so much nonsense, so he would just arrest him and force him to question him with poison. Tang Ge is also well aware of this. So he really wanted to point the middle finger at Douluo to look down on him, and then tell him that not only the corpses of 2 ancient dragons were hidden in the eyes of Binghuo Liangai, but also that he had been devoured by him for half a year. But Douluo, a scumbag who couldn't even get down to a depth of, meters in the ice and fire yin even if he knew this secret, it would be of no use at all. The corpse of Gulong lying in the eyes of the eye of Binghuo Liangai will always be the father he can't get. Smiling in his heart, Tang Ge gave a modest explanation. How can the junior dive deeper than the senior? It's only because there is a special method to completely restrain the breath, so the senior didn't find the junior at first. Besides, this ice and fire Liangai belongs to you, senior. Is there any secret in it? Don't you know more about it than us, senior? Having said that, he looked at Douluo with strange expressions in his eyes. Douluo sensed that the kid in front of him was mocking him. But he couldn't have an attack, otherwise, wouldn't he admit that he is not even as good as a child? HMPH. The old man's ice and fire Liangai eyes, the old man is naturally very clear. In the end, Douluo couldn't help but snorted, using this sentence as an end to the topic just now. However, with the appearance of Tang Ge, the question of killing or not killing that he has been struggling with for half a year can finally be let go. He will not pursue the matter that the other party deceived him with a false identity. This kid hadn't seen him for half a year, his wings had grown too hard. Douluo was afraid he hadn't broken his opponent's wings yet, so he broke a pair of his arms first. He won't do things that are thankless. And now Douluo's only thought is to get the kid in front of him to get out of here, otherwise he will be unbearably upset. After beckoning Tang San to come over, Douluo said directly, "Open your mouth." Tang San understood what it meant, and immediately followed suit. Soon under Douluo's guidance, the jade phosphorus serpent emperor's pill that Tang San had taken flew out of his body, and was swallowed again by Douluo. Beside, Tang Ge witnessed this scene, and suddenly couldn't help but chill. What a heavy taste. At this time, Douluo, who had regained his pills, completely recovered his peak strength, because of the toxins in his body being treated for half a year. His dark green hair gradually turned black. He said lightly, "The half-year period has come. You should go. Let us go." Hearing Douluo's words, Tang San was taken aback for a moment, then stepped forward immediately, and spoke solemnly. "Thank you, Senior Douluo, for your teachings during this period of time. This junior has nothing to repay, and I can only use these two gadgets as a gift to Senior." As he spoke, two pitch-black marbles, one large and one small, suddenly appeared in his hand. Douluo nodded, not in a hurry to pick it up, but looked at Tang Ge aside. "What about you, brat, Senior? Do you want to thank me for calling Tang San to treat you? Although I don't think it's good to ask for a gift, if you don't, it's inevitable that outsiders will say that you, Senior, don't give up anything, and don't fit the temperament of a titled Douluo. So to show sincerity, the younger generation decided, I want this place." Faced with Douluo's question, Tang Ge waved his hand and pointed to the valley road in front of him, and he seemed to be thinking about Douluo. End of this chapter. Chapter 187. I despise you. Although it wasn't the first time Tang San saw Tang Ge's thick-skinned appearance, every time he saw it, he still had an incredible feeling. He could hear that Douluo wanted to ask Tang Ge for a gift in return when he opened his mouth, but when Tang Ge said it, it became that Douluo was giving Tang Ge a gift. And the key to Tang Ge is to be upright and confident, and to speak righteously, as it should be. If Douluo refuses to agree, it seems that he is not worthy of being a titled Douluo, and once it is spread, he will be scolded by the Soul Master class. But if you think about it, Tang Ge should really ask Douluo for a gift. After all, Tang San was called by Tang Ge to detoxify Douluo. However, since he was the one who detoxified Douluo, should it be Douluo who came out with a gift to thank him in the end? Thinking of this, Tang San looked at the pair of mother-in-law chasing spirits he took out to give to Douluo, and suddenly had the urge to put them away. How could you be so stupid? Not to mention Tang San's thoughts, when Douluo heard Tang Ge's words, he was so angry that he almost vomited blood. He couldn't help staring, and said angrily, "If you want the old man's things, you still want the old man to thank you? Let me tell you, boy, I, Douluo, would rather let outsiders say that I don't pull out her hair, and I won't give you a piece of grass. So annoying. It's so annoying." Douluo also really realized that there really are people in this world who are so thick-skinned that they can kill people. They are the kind of people who kill people without blood. And he was afraid that Tang San would be affected. He quickly reached out his hand. No matter what Tang San took out, he immediately took it and put it into his soul tool. Seeing this, Tang San's complexion suddenly twitched, but he didn't say anything. But Tang Ge was unwilling, and suddenly frowned, and a terrifying aura that he had put away before was released from him again. Even the aura of Zeus and sword was leaked by him a little bit. For a moment, Douluo, who was originally angry, felt as if the sky was about to collapse, and an extremely intense death crisis struck, immediately causing all the hairs on his body to stand on end. When he sensed that the threat of death came from Tang Ge again, Douluo couldn't help being shocked. It was hard for him to imagine what kind of tricks this little guy was hiding. Why would he even be afraid of himself as identified titled Douluo? Ding dong, congratulations to the host, shocked Douluo, and gained, shock points. The system prompt sounded in my mind. But Tang Ge ignored it, but looked at Douluo, and said indifferently, "Senior Douluo, did you really not discuss it at all? This is not impossible to discuss." Douluo wanted to refuse, but the death crisis hanging in his heart still made him have to compromise, and when he said this, he had to try to be as gentle as possible. But as soon as these words came out, Tang San's eyes immediately widened. He stared blankly at Douluo, his eyes filled with shock. "Senior, you are a titled Douluo, how could you compromise so easily? Why can't you persist?" But Tang Ge was very satisfied. He dissipated the released breath again, and said with a smile, "I knew Senior Douluo was the most generous, So are you planning to continue giving this place to juniors? No. I can't give you all of this land, at least not the ice and fire yin-yang, although Douluo compromised. He still insisted on his bottom line and refused to make a final concession. He even stared at Tang Ge viciously, gritted his teeth and said in a low voice, "Give me some face, boy, except for the ice and fire liangai, you can take other herbs. As long as you agree, this thing is yours, and I, Douluo, can promise you one more condition." As he said that, there was already a small green bag in Douluo's hand. What is this? Although Tang Ge guessed the purpose of the small bag, he still pretended to be puzzled and asked while reaching out to take the small bag. Seeing Tang Ge take away the small bag, Douluo couldn't help but feel distress flashing across his face. Immediately he said, "Ruai 100 treasure bag, a soul guide that can hold living things, it can just help you place herbs?" Seems to have thought of something. Just after saying this, Douluo suddenly looked at Tang San again. "By the way, little guy, what did you give this old man just now? Son and mother chasing souls and guts are a hidden weapon just like Yan Wangti." Hearing Douluo's question, Tang San said with a slightly twitching face. Then he talked about the method and power of using the soul-hunting gallbladder. Originally Douluo asked Tang San to test it himself, but Tang San resolutely refused on the grounds that he only had this set of hidden weapons. Joke. It's fine if you don't give him something, and you want him to continue spending money. Tang San is not stupid. Immediately, under Tang San's guidance, and under Douluo's extremely distressed gaze, Tang Ge began to wantonly harvest the precious herbs in this valley. Among them are kilo tulips, 8-petal fairy orchids and other fairy grasses that can have an effect on the Shrek 9 monsters. Of course, these fairy grasses have now become Tang Ge's, and he has the final say on who to use them for. As for the Binghuo Liangai that Douluo refused to move, Tang Ge was not in a hurry. After all, even if the other party agreed, he could not remove the entire Binghuo Liangai. There are plenty of opportunities to come here again in the future. Soon, under the two peoples harvesting, the rare medicinal herbs that had grown vigorously and densely in the valley became sparse. The rest are basically saved from the bad luck of being picked because the year is too short. Seeing this scene, Douluo felt his heart was bleeding. You must know that it took him decades to manage this valley with great difficulty, but in the end it ended up in other people's pockets, so it's not surprising. But thinking about using these medicinal herbs in exchange for the sequelae caused by Wuhan for himself and his granddaughter, Douluo felt much better immediately. After a while, seeing that the two had already picked almost everything, he walked over. Coming to Tang Ge, Douluo said indifferently, "This old man keeps his word. Since he promised you a condition, he won't break his promise. Tell me, what do you need this old man to do for you? A condition?" Tang Ge thought for a while, and felt that there was nothing for Douluo to do. After all, with his current strength, he can basically do what Douluo can do, and he seems to be able to do what Douluo can't do. So what is the use of Douluo? I don't know if he sensed Tang Ge's thoughts, but Douluo couldn't help being annoyed, and said angrily, "What? You look down on the old man's condition? I don't look down on your condition, I look down on you." Tang Ge couldn't help thinking to himself. But on the surface, he just smiled and said, "Senior, don't worry, I just can't remember it for a while." Immediately Tang Ge seemed to think of something again, his heart moved suddenly, and he suddenly said to Tang San next to him, "Little San, why don't you mention something for Senior Douluo to do? Ask for a monthly pass." End of this chapter. Period. Chapter 188. He's coming. Let me mention it? Tang San on the side didn't expect Tang Ge to say that suddenly, and suddenly he looked shocked, and said, "Are you sure? Isn't it just a condition? If there's anything to be sure about, I'll give it to you," Tang Ge said indifferently. But when Douluo heard it, he was so angry that he almost lost his temper. When did the conditions he promised to the dignified title Douluo become so worthless, and he let it go? Sensing the change in Douluo's mood, Tang San also couldn't laugh or cry. He felt that Tang Ge had changed, not only became thicker-skinned, but what he said could make people mad. But no matter what, Tang San was still very touched that the other party could give him the conditions promised by a title Douluo. So he looked at Douluo directly, and tentatively said, "Senior, look, say," but before Tang San could finish speaking, Douluo interrupted with the gritted teeth. Tang San didn't hesitate anymore, and said directly, "This condition is very simple for seniors. If possible, please invite seniors to join our Shrek Academy." "What? Want this old man to join Shrek Academy?" Don't even think about it. When he heard that it was a request to restrict his own freedom, Douluo rejected it without any consideration. But when Tang San learned that the other party just wanted him to be a guest in the academy and didn't limit his freedom, he let go and said he would consider it. Then after the friendly negotiation between the two, Douluo, who was eager to use up the condition he sent, finally agreed to Tang San. But he made a serious statement that he would not stay in the academy forever. Regarding this, Tang San naturally didn't dare to make any sense. And in his heart, he also breathed a sigh of relief. To be honest, Tang San was also quite embarrassed about the conditions promised by the title Douluo that Tang Ge suddenly sent over. Although the other party didn't care, it would be too selfish if he only mentioned one condition that was beneficial to him. The teacher may be dissatisfied if he finds out. So after much deliberation, Tang San still felt that Shrek Academy lacked a master to sit in charge. If a title Douluo could join, it would be very reasonable not only for them but also for the entire academy. At the very least, if some major events happen, I will have the backing of title Douluo on my side, which will avoid a lot of troubles. Thinking of this, Tang San couldn't help showing a smile on his face, and said to Tang Ge, "This condition is not bad, of course can. Because this was originally a condition that you should put forward, I just pushed a boat along the way and gave it to you again." Tang Ge couldn't help laughing secretly in his heart. Then he nodded and said, "No problem, it's your decision anyway." Tang Ge specially emphasized the last sentence. But neither Tang San nor Douluo noticed. And even if they noticed, they wouldn't think too much about it. In that case, let's go. In the end, his gaze stayed on the two little guys. Douluo urged his martial soul directly, and flew out of the valley at low altitude. Tang Ge smiled faintly, and flew up into the air with the wings of yin and yang, and followed closely after him. Only Tang San had a bitter look on his face. Without the flying spirit ability, he could only run wildly on the ground with two legs. However, he was very much looking forward to it in his heart. I haven't seen her for half a year. So I don't know how Xiao Wu and the teacher are doing. In the evening, at sunset and dusk, the Xiandao Imperial City block was still very lively. And outside the quiet Lamba Academy in the west of the city, three figures quietly appeared here. However, the original plaque of Lamba Academy has been removed and replaced with a new plaque. The 5 characters Shrek Academy were also re-engraved on the plaque. Seeing this name, Tang San couldn't help feeling kind, and a smile appeared on his face. He immediately walked over and told the guard that he and Tang Ge were back, and that Senior Douluo was coming to visit. Hearing that a title Douluo was coming, the guard didn't dare to hesitate, and immediately turned around and ran into the academy. Not a moment later, the guard who had just left returned. And behind him, there are a large number of people following him. Among them are Liu Erlong, Flender, Uzia Gang, Zhao Wuji and other former Shrek Academy teachers. Obviously, apart from the return of Tang San and Tang Ge, their appearance was more for Douluo. You must know that this is a title Douluo. Once he makes a move, the entire Shrek Academy may be hard to resist. The three of Flender and Uzia Gang still remember the experience of defeating Douluo after using the martial soul fusion technique. But when they saw Tang San and Tang Ge at the door, they still had relaxed smiles on their faces. Half a year later, I finally saw these two worrying little guys again. I can let go of the heart that I have been carrying all this time. Same time. Seeing Flender and his group hurrying over, Tang Ge and Tang San also hurried up to meet them. "Dean, teacher, we are back," Tang San said excitedly. Tang Ge said with a smile, "I must have missed us. Otherwise why would the dean and teachers rush out to pick us up so eagerly?" "Dean, am I right?" When Zhao Wuji and the others heard Tang Ge's words, they immediately rolled their eyes. Flender even smiled and cursed and stretched out his hand to pat Tang Ge on the head. "You boy, I haven't seen you for half a year, not to mention whether your strength has increased or not, but your face is getting thicker and thicker." Cough cough cough. Suddenly, a cough came from behind, interrupting Flender's words. When he saw the impatient look on the face of Douluo who was walking behind, he hurriedly said, "Senior Douluo, please forgive me, but I don't know why you came to Shrek Academy." "Dean, the senior came to our college as a consultant," Tang San hurriedly said from the side. "As a consultant?" Hearing Tang San's words, everyone including Flender showed stunned expressions on their faces. Why does this sound like a joke? As if sensing the thoughts of these people, Douluo suddenly couldn't help snorting. If Tang Ge hadn't asked the old man to come here, Do you think the old man would be free to come here as a consultant? But as soon as he finished speaking, Tang Ge followed up and spoke loudly. Senior Douluo, let's make this clear, Tang San and I both have the surname Tang, but the names are very different. The condition was put forward by Tang San. It is also the result of your discussion with him to come to the academy as a consultant. What does this have to do with me? Although you are a titled Douluo, senior, you can't speak out of your conscience. The condition you agreed to me cannot just be ignored by you. After saying this, Tang Ge looked at Flender, who was in a daze. Dean, it's Senior Douluo who wants to come. You don't have to pay too much attention, just arrange a place for him, don't worry about the rest. Mock up. What's so special about a titled Douluo that I can even beat, my young master? You need to put in conditions to let you come. End of this chapter. Chapter 189, Great Strength Improvement. As soon as Tang Ge said these words, the originally calm atmosphere suddenly became tense. Regardless of whether it was Liu Erlong or Yu Gang, they were also frightened that their bodies tensed up. With the violent fluctuations in their soul power, they were obviously ready to do something. Tang Ge, it is our honor for Senior Douluo to come to our Shrek Academy as a consultant. How can you talk like this? Why don't you hurry up and apologize to Senior Douluo? After Flender came back to his senses, fearing that Douluo would shoot Tang Ge to death in a fit of anger, he quickly reprimanded Tang Ge with a straight face. But in his heart, he smiled wryly. He never thought that Tang Ge, who hadn't seen him for half a year, would become so crazy with his words. Obedient. Senior Douluo is a titled Douluo anyway, even if he wanted to come, we can't say that, right? Anyway, I have to save some face for my seniors. This is good, it angered a titled Douluo, not to mention the matter of the consultant. I am afraid that there will be a difficult battle next, but just when everyone thought there was going to be a fight, Douluo, the victim of this incident, was very calm in the face of Tang Ge's powerless rebuttal just now. He didn't seem to hear it, he just looked at Douluo indifferently, and said, the old man is tired, please help find a place to live, remember to be quiet. The voice sounded calm, even a little polite. Flender, who reacted, was immediately flattered, and hurriedly asked her Longmei to call a teacher from the academy, and took Douluo to arrange a place to live. It wasn't until the person left that the invisible pressure that enveloped the place slowly receded. Flender and the others breathed a sigh of relief. But at this moment, when they looked at Tang Ge, who had looked normal from beginning to end, the teachers of Shrek Academy looked a little inconceivable on their faces. This little Tang Ge talked to titled Douluo like that just now, but he didn't suffer from the other party's severe beating? It is so strange. Among them, Zhao Wuji couldn't help coming over, and asked Tang Ge full of curiosity and expectation, boy, can you tell me what's going on? What's the matter? Tang Ge was puzzled. Zhao Wuji rubbed his hands, and said a little embarrassedly, how can I make titled Douluo not angry after scolding titled Douluo? Can you teach me, Teacher Zhao? I'm afraid you are thinking about farting. Tang Ge thought it was something, but when he heard Zhao Wuji's words, he couldn't help but slander secretly. As for Flender, Liu Erlong and others, they were all speechless. If you can scold titled Douluo without making titled Douluo angry, if there is such a good thing in the world, please tell them to. Boom. Suddenly, an ear-shattering loud noise resounded in the depths of the academy, which immediately alarmed everyone present. Moreover, the frequency of this loud noise became faster and faster, and finally it directly evolved into boom and boom like thunderous explosions. The ground was shaking violently. In the distance, the sky was shrouded in green mist, and a hideous and terrifying giant snake could be faintly seen rolling and roaring. Many students and teachers in the academy were startled, and ran out of their respective residences one after another, hearing the loud noises that kept ringing, trembling with fear. At the gate, Flender and the others also looked in the direction of the explosion. There seems to be the direction that Senior Douluo went just now. Gang frowned, and said somewhat uncertainly. Just at this moment, another figure ran over in a panic. It was the college teacher who took Douluo away before. When they heard from the other party that Douluo has gone crazy and is wreaking havoc, the people present seemed to have thought of something, and immediately looked at each other in blank dismay. Tang Ge suddenly smiled, and said to Zhao Wuji, Mr. Zhao, the question you asked just now is not impossible, but this matter needs to be demonstrated in front of Senior Douluo. If Teacher Zhao thinks it's okay, I'll. As a result, before Tang Ge could finish speaking, Zhao Wuji was so frightened that he hurriedly interrupted. Don't. This is just a trivial matter, so don't bother Senior Douluo. Besides, I remembered that I still have one important thing to do, so I'll take a step away." After speaking, he ran away from here. Seeing Zhao Wuji leave, Tang Ge shook his head regretfully and said, "Hey, it's such a pity that Mr. Zhao doesn't want to try such a good opportunity. That's enough, brat. Come back when you come back. Why are you scaring you, Mr. Zhao?" In the end, Flender couldn't stand it anymore, and interrupted loudly. But no matter what, Tang Ge's performance still made him very satisfied. He was able to vent his anger only after the dignified title Douluo left, and he deserved to be the student he handed over. Immediately. Because of being too tired, Tang Ge, who had been immersed in cultivation for half a year, just wanted to have a good sleep, so he left first. In this way, Tang San was the only one who came back from the setting sun forest. Therefore, Flender and Yu Zia Gang, who were eager to understand the situation, could only target Tang San, and even surrounded him directly. "Just like he won't let you go if you don't tell me." In this way, Tang San, who originally wanted to find Zia Wu, had no choice but to stay, and began to obediently tell what happened in the past 6 months. What followed was bursts of exclamations and gasps. Time passed quickly, and it was already the next day in the blink of an eye. As the morning approached, Tang Ge, who had just come back yesterday and went to sleep, also woke up in his room and slowly opened his eyes. Feeling the feeling of relaxation everywhere in his body, he immediately sat up and stretched. Comfortable, however, Tang Ge didn't get out of bed in a hurry after waking up, but with a heartbeat, he directly called up the personal information panel that he hadn't seen for a long time. Shocking system, host, Tang Ge, level, Soul King, martial souls, twin martial souls, map of mountains and rivers, 4 swords of immortals, spirit ring, black, affected by the field of mountains and rivers, can be merged into one and change any color. Soul skill, mountain and river domain, unique, currently covering a spherical area with a radius of, meters around the host. Soul spike, yin-yang wings, Mahamudra of life and death, Tai Chi sword formation, martial arts. Random cloaking windhammer method, secretive Xing character, hell smelting, heavenly god fist, physique, ancient holy body, awakening 19%, shock value 112,100. Looking at the results of his half-year practice displayed on the panel, Tang Ge was very satisfied at the moment. Not to mention that he has already reached the 60th level of soul power. He only needs to fuse with one more soul ring to be successfully promoted to the Soul Emperor, and he will also be a Soul Emperor who is only 12 years old. And the Ancient Saint physique has improved even more, from 6% to 19% awakening rate. It was also because of the improvement of the ancient holy body that Tang Ge could challenge Douluo head-on as soon as he came out of the ice and fire Liangai. After finishing his training, ask for a monthly pass. End of this chapter. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Period. Chapter 190. A Girl's Heart, a Gift of Fairy Grass. After half a year of training, under the supply of energy from the corpses of 2 ancient dragons, Tang Ge practiced with the help of top-quality spirit stones and meteor tears at the same time, and his soul power quickly rose to level. It's just because he hasn't obtained a suitable 6th soul ring, so he can only stop the cultivation of soul power. Therefore, the steady stream of energy was tilted towards the ancient holy body again by Tang Ge. In the end, if he hadn't considered that the eye of ice and fire yin-yang was still useful, the corpses of the 2 ancient dragons would probably have been swallowed up by him. There are less than, of the, top-grade spirit stones left. But paying such a huge resource price, Tang Ge's harvest is also very large. Not only has this ancient Eucharist awakened from 6% to 19%, he is only one step away from reaching the minor completion of the Eucharist. At the same time, one of the visions belonging to the ancient sacred body, the immortal king is coming to the 9 heavens, also initially appeared. It is precisely by relying on the remote ancient holy body approaching Xia Cheng and the vision, the immortal king comes to the 9 heavens, that Tang Ge can challenge Douluo head-on as soon as he leaves the level. If he was serious, he would use all his firepower, and he could even kill Douluo directly. This is the horror of the ancient Eucharist. It's just that what makes Tang Ge uncomfortable is that at this point, he no longer dares to continue to improve the progress of the ancient holy body. Because Tang Ge could clearly feel the fear of this world towards him when he used the ancient holy body, and there was a faint threat hanging over his head, as if it would come at any time. This is the thunder tribulation belonging to the ancient holy body is coming again. And it's more terrifying than the previous thunder tribulation. Without full assurance, Tang Ge dared not risk his life to cross the catastrophe. As for whether to use this Huxin sword to cut through the thunder calamity, he also thought about it, but after thinking about it, let's forget it. Who knows if other mothers will appear by then. Thinking of this, Tang Ge couldn't help but let out a low sigh. It seems that I have to find an opportunity to go to the world of shrouding heaven. If I can obtain the technique of shrouding heaven to open up the sea of suffering, and then choose to cross the tribulation there, the chance of success will be even greater. Fortunately, in addition to going to the world of shrouding the sky to obtain the method of shrouding the sky, the heavens also have a chance to draw a lottery. Now looking at the shock value of over, on the system panel, Tang Ge felt extremely comfortable. Finally, I can do another 10 consecutive draws. But at this moment, there was a knock on the door suddenly, followed by Ning Rongrong's anxious urging. Tang Ge, are you awake? Come out quickly. If you don't come out, we will go in directly. Come out, Tang Ge, everyone is waiting for you outside. Hearing the urging voice, Tang Ge shook his head and had to temporarily put away the personal information panel. Immediately after he got out of bed, he washed his face with clean water casually, and went out directly. Outside the room, when Tang Ge came out, besides Ning Rongrong, Lin Yuchen and Zhu Ziuqing were waiting here. Seeing that after half a year, Tang Ge not only grew taller, but also became more handsome, the three girls were stunned. What? Don't you know me? Tang Ge couldn't help laughing and teasing. After Lin Yuchen and Zhu Ziuqing came back to their senses, their pretty faces immediately turned red. But Ning Rongrong ran directly to Tang Ge, hugged his arm and complained, HMPH, look at Tang San, he went to find Xiao Wu as soon as he came back yesterday. And you didn't look for us when you came back, and you ran back to the room to sleep. It's really disgusting. You know how worried me, Sister Yuchen and Sisters Ziuqing are, don't you know? And what exactly did you eat? Why is it only half a year later that your boy's skin is better than our girls'? Speaking of this, she couldn't help reaching out to touch Tang Ge's body here and there, showing a look of envy. If Tang Ge hadn't been able to hide quickly in the end, his important places might not escape the bad luck of being touched. Obedient. Is this girl crazy? He even dared to touch my place. Little did they know that at this time, Ning Rongrong, who realized that he almost touched the wrong place, was even more flushed, even his neck was stained red. If there was a hole in the ground at this moment, she would definitely not be able to resist getting into it. What a shame. But it's all Tang Ge's fault, who made him have such good skin and look so handsome. Finally, Ning Rongrong glared at Tang Ge fiercely, her eyes full of complaints. Seeing this, Tang Ge was stunned. What am I doing wrong again? But he didn't continue to struggle with this aspect, he couldn't help but smiled and said, let's not talk about my skin condition, I have brought you something good when I come back this time. Good stuff? Hearing Tang Ge's words, Lin Yuchen and Zhu Ziuqing's beautiful eyes lit up immediately. Even Ning Rongrong, who was shy just now, couldn't help but speak again. What a good thing, take it out and let us see it. Tang Ge rolled his eyes, and sure enough, the girl's thoughts became the fastest. However, he didn't play tricks, and directly took out the gift he had already prepared. These are 3 jade boxes, and when the lid is opened, 3 herbs are immediately seen by the 3 daughters of Ning Rongrong. Brother Tang Ge, what is this? Lin Yuchen spoke for the first time, her pretty face was full of curiosity. However, because she practiced a meditation of the forest elves, she could clearly feel the surging medicinal power from these 3 medicinal herbs. Hearing Lin Yuchen's question, Tang Ge smiled slightly and handed one of the jade boxes to her. Yuchen, what's in it is the 9th grade purple lucidum, which can greatly improve your body and soul power. You can take it here, and I will protect you, okay? Lin Yuchen nodded heavily. And she didn't have the slightest doubt about what Tang Ge said. After taking the 9th grade Zizi from the jade box and taking it out, she sat cross-legged and began to absorb it. Looking at Lin Yuchen surrounded by purple light, Tang Ge couldn't help showing a smile in his eyes. According to the original development, Tang San should have given this 9th grade Zizi to use Iagang. Then with the help of this fairy grass, Yu Xiaogang will also successfully break through to level, so that he can fuse the third soul ring to become a soul master. But now, with Tang Ge's intervention, all this will never happen again. If Yu Xiaogang found out, how would he feel? Just as he was thinking, Ning Rongrong's urging voice came from beside his ear. Tang Ge, where's mine? Where's mine? Tang Ge withdrew his thoughts. After turning his attention away from Lin Yuchen, he looked at Ning Rongrong, who was in a hurry, and couldn't help stretching out his hand to pinch her soft face. Don't worry, come one by one. As he spoke, he ignored Ning Rongrong, who was pouting and dissatisfied, and directly handed the other jade box to Zhu Xiuqing. Xiuqing, what's in it is a fairy herb called Narcissus Jade Muscle Bone, which can moisturize your tendons and strengthen your bones, and it will greatly improve your soul power. Take it here, this name is really nice, thank you, Tang Ge. Hearing Tang Ge's introduction, Zhu Xiuqing said in a low voice. Immediately after she took the fairy grass, she also sat cross-legged and began to practice. End of this chapter. Chapter 191. Begging Dao late to kill Boss Tang. As Lin Yuchen and Zhu Xiuqing sat cross-legged on the ground and began to concentrate on absorbing the medicinal power of the fairy grass, Ning Rongrong was the only one who stayed here without receiving the gift. She seemed very unhappy. She pouted and turned her head aside, ignoring Tang Ge. Seeing this, Tang Ge secretly smiled, and suddenly grabbed the opponent's little hand and pulled him into his arms. When Ning Rongrong came to her senses, her handsome face was suppressed immediately. As the lips were wrapped in a warm feeling, Ning Rongrong only felt a loud boom in his head, and he didn't know anything. I don't know how long it took until a sense of suffocation came, and she couldn't help beating Tang Ge's heart desperately, and broke free from the other's firm embrace. Beep, beep. After breaking free, Ning Rongrong took several steps back, and then stared at Tang Ge with wide eyes and flushed face, and said in a trembling voice, You are so damned, you actually have that place in your relative's house, what's wrong with kissing you? Come here if you have the ability, Tang Ge said proudly, and couldn't help but lick his lips. Ning Rongrong, who was flushed with embarrassment, immediately gritted her teeth in anger when she heard Tang Ge's words, and stomped her feet. If she hadn't been afraid of disturbing Lin Yuchen and Zhu Xiuqing, who were still practicing, she might not have been able to bear it and rush to fight Tang Ge. But even so, Ning Rongrong still pinched Xiaoman's waist and said angrily, I don't care, you have to make it up to me. Here, to make up for your gift, it contains a fairy grass called Kilo Tulip. After taking it, the improvement of your soul power is only second, the key is to make up for the defects of your own martial soul. Seeing Ning Rongrong's delicate and savage appearance, Tang Ge smiled slightly, and immediately handed over the last jade box. Ning Rongrong took the jade box and asked, What do you mean by making up for the flaws of the martial soul? That is to say, if your spirit is the 7 treasures glazed pagoda, once you consume this Kilo Tulip, you can make the 7 treasures glazed pagoda evolve into the 9 treasures glazed pagoda, Tang Ge explained. When Ning Rongrong heard it, he was surprised and said, It can make the 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda evolve, and this fairy grass is so powerful. It's just that I'm already the 9 treasures glazed tile pagoda, wouldn't it be too wasteful to take it? Speaking of this, Ning Rongrong showed doubts again on his face. Tang Ge shrugged, indifferent. Anyway, the fairy grass is given to you. You can decide whether to take it or not, and compared with the sky replenishing pill I gave you before, this beautiful tulip can only be regarded as mediocre, is that so? Hearing Tang Ge's explanation, Ning Rongrong seemed to think of something. Her beautiful eyes lit up immediately. Immediately she also pretended not to care and said, Since this is the case, anyway, I have taken the heaven replenishing pill that is more precious than this fairy grass, so I will not take this fairy grass and put it away first. Tang Ge watched Ning Rongrong close the jade box and put it away. Although he guessed what the other person was thinking, he didn't open his mouth to break it. Anyway, the things have already been sent out, so he doesn't care how to use them. But there is one thing that Tang Ge is right. The Bushin pill is indeed more precious and powerful than the Kilo Tulip. Even if Ning Rongrong hadn't taken Kilo Tulip to improve her soul power, Tang Ge also believed that with the help of Bushin pill, this girl's soul power level would not be lower than that of Lin Yuchen and Zhu Xiuqing, who had taken fairy grass. Just as she was thinking, Ning Rongrong, who had just put away the jade box, suddenly stretched out her little hand. Where's my gift? Didn't I just give it to you? Why do you want more? Tang Ge was a little confused. Ning Rongrong said proudly, I didn't use the one just given to me, so it doesn't count. Tang Ge, you have to give me something that I can use. Well, it turns out that a gift that is not needed is not a gift. Tang Ge, who heard this fallacy for the first time, was completely speechless. However, he didn't refuse, and took out another top-quality spirit stone from the system space, and a strong spiritual energy immediately radiated out. With just one inhalation, Ningrongrong felt that his soul power began to improve. Her eyes lit up, and she said, Tang Ge, what is this? A treasure called Lingxi. If you hold it in your hand during meditation, it will speed up the improvement of your soul power, Tang Ge said. Can it speed up the speed of soul power improvement? This is definitely baby. Hearing Tang Ge's explanation, Ningrongrong was afraid that the other party would take it back, and immediately put it into his soul tool as soon as he took the spirit stone. Immediately, she seemed to think of something, and suddenly blushed and whispered shyly, then, well, Tang Ge, besides me, does anyone else have this spirit stone? Obviously, the other person that Ningrongrong said meant something. Tang Ge was very clear in his heart. He couldn't help smiling secretly. I'm sorry, little girl, you can only be the third person who can get the spirit stone I sent you. But facing Ningrongrong's expectant eyes, Tang Ge pinched her dome-nosed dotinglet. Of course you are the only one, so don't tell anyone about this spirit stone except you and me. Yeah, this is a secret between you and me. I will never tell it, Ningrongrong said happily. Then, taking advantage of Tang Ge's inattention, she suddenly leaned forward and kissed Tang Ge's face lightly, and when she retreated again, her pretty face was extremely red. This girl is really innocent. After Tang Ge reacted, he couldn't laugh or cry. But just when he was about to inquire about Ningrongrong's cultivation achievements in the past 6 months, an extremely exaggerated exclamation suddenly came from a distance. I read it right? Rongrong kissed Boss Tang. At some point, Tang San and his party had already appeared 7 or 8 meters away. It was Ma Hongjin who suddenly exclaimed. Beside him, Oscar said with a look of envy and jealousy, Old Ma, you read that right. Rongrong kissed Boss Tang, and she kissed in front of our other 2 beautiful classmates in broad daylight. After being confirmed, Ma Hongjin immediately became extremely desperate. With an extremely exaggerated plop, his legs slid and knelt on the ground like a sliding shovel. His body was raised at a 45-degree angle and he looked up at the sky, making a whimpering sound. Oh heaven! Oh earth! I beg you to be merciful and send down a bolt of lightning to strike Boss Tang to death. He is so brute that he even took all 3 beautiful female classmates from our Shrek 9 monsters. Even Rongrong, the little princess of Kibaoliulazong, can't escape the evil hands, and she has fallen completely. Can't you pity us single dogs? No matter what, at least leave one for us to think about. These bursts of sorrowful voices reached directly to the soul. Even Daimube and Oscar couldn't help empathizing with them, wishing they could turn into lightning and fall from the sky. In the distance, Ningrongrong did not expect that his behavior of stealing Tang Ge would be seen by all his classmates. Especially when she heard Ma Hongjin's words, she froze for a moment, and the rosiness on her face immediately spread to her neck, and even the roots of her ears were so red that it seemed as if blood would overflow. I ignore you. In the end, Ningrongrong suddenly turned around and fled into Tang Ge's room with a really thin skin. With a bang, the door was instantly closed. Ask for a monthly pass. End of this chapter. Chapter 192. Daimube completely destroyed by reality. Seeing Ningrongrong hide in his room in shame, Tang Ge couldn't laugh or cry when he came back to his senses. What the hell is this? But he didn't forget that the 2 daughters Zhu Xiuqing and Lin Yujin, who were still absorbing the power of the fairy herbs, saw Ma Hongjin still howling, and they all rushed over in a flash. 7 or 8 meters away, seeing Tang Ge rushing over with a cold face, Daimube and Oscar immediately got scared and moved away from Ma Hongjin after they realized it. Ma Hongjin's vivid expression froze even more, and he opened his mouth weakly like a big girl with a yellow flower who was out of the court. Boss Tang, can you be gentle? Shut up. Don't talk nonsense about the gift I originally brought you. Don't even think about it. At some point, another jade box appeared in Tang Ge's right hand. While opening the jade box, he glared at Ma Hongjin and said viciously, "What the fat man said just now made him lose the urge to hit someone." Huh? Boss Tang actually not only didn't hit me, but also brought me a gift back. But when Ma Hongjin heard Tang Ge's words, his eyes lit up immediately, and he couldn't help looking into the jade box eagerly. It's just that because he was kneeling on the ground, he couldn't see what was in the jade box at all. But Tang San on the side could see it clearly. He smiled immediately and said, "Fatty, you are blessed. The gift Tang Ge brought back for you is really a good thing. It is called Coxcomb Phoenix Sunflower, which can not only enhance your soul power, but also purify the purity of your flame and increase the intensity of your flame. After using it, the evil fire on your body should gradually disappear." Ma Hongjin didn't care about the previous words, but the function of dispelling evil fire later made him excited all of a sudden. If this is the case, wouldn't he, Ma Hongjin, finally be able to raise his head and behave in an upright manner? Thinking of this, Ma Hongjin didn't care what his face was, and immediately hugged Tang Ge's thigh. "Boss Tang, you are my real brother. No matter what you do, I, Ma Hongjin, will definitely support you 100 times. And our 3 beautiful female classmates, wouldn't it be natural to be with someone as handsome and powerful as you, Boss Tang? What Oscar, what Yubei, how could they possibly compare with you, Boss Tang? HMPH, let them be jealous of you, Boss Tang. After all, only the best men will be jealous." As soon as these words came out, everyone was caught off guard. They didn't expect that Ma Hongjin's attitude would change so quickly, and he would like Tang Ge so hard. Especially Dime Yubei and Oscar, who were innocently lying on the gun, even wanted to kill Ma Hongjin. One moment it was still a united front, and the next moment it started stabbing teammates in the back. Even Tang Ge had to admire it. But he likes it. So under the complicated eyes of others, Tang Ge smiled and handed the jade box to Ma Hongjin. "The method used has already been told to you, take it as sight and absorb it. Thank you, Boss Tang." I knew Boss Tang was the best for me. Taking the jade box, looking at the coxcomb and phoenix sunflower in the box, Ma Hongjin flattered Tang Ge again. Then he found a quiet place not far away, and sat cross-legged on the ground to absorb the power of the fairy medicine. After they left, Tang Ge smiled and looked at Oscar again. "You are also polite, as a result." Before he could finish speaking, Oscar immediately took a step ahead, speaking righteously and loudly. "Boss, you don't need to say anything. I, Oscar, will always be on your side. No matter what you ask me to do, even if it's going up the mountain of swords or down into the sea of fire, I will dare to go, and I will never blink an eye." And I agree with what the fat man said just now. Hearing Oscar's sincere statement, Tang Ge stretched out his hand and patted him on the shoulder, feeling very relieved. "Sure enough, Zioao, you know me best. This is the fairy grass 8-petal fairy orchid I specially prepared for you. It can just make up for your slow cultivation speed as a food-type soul master. Thank you, Boss Tang, I love you the most." Oscar wanted to kiss Tang Ge excitedly, but seeing the disgusted expression on the other party's face, he could only give up regretfully. Then he took the fairy grass, ran to Ma Hongjin's side, ate it and then sat on the ground and began to practice. Immediately afterwards, Tang Ge took out a Wengchun Autumn Water Dew and a Acacia Broken Heart Red for Tang San and Xiao Wu respectively. He watched the two go aside to study Lovesick Heartbroken Red, then his gaze immediately shifted to the only Dime Yubei who hadn't received the gift yet. Sensing Tang Ge's gaze, Dime Yubei opened his mouth, but couldn't speak. Ma Hongjin and Oscar's successive defections made him feel like an abandoned child, full of grievances in his heart. But if he let himself say such compliments, Dime Yubei couldn't do it. To go or not to go? He really doesn't know how to decide now. But just when Dime Yubei was extremely entangled in his heart, a jade box suddenly appeared in front of his eyes. Immediately afterwards, Tang Ge's extremely gentle voice sounded. "Old Dai, take it. This is a gift I specially prepared for you, a fairy grass named Qirong Tongyan Chrysanthemum. I heard from the dean and the others that your soul power has already touched the bottleneck of level, but you have been unable to break through. It just so happens that this chrysanthemum is the best match for your martial soul. After taking it, it can not only help you break through the bottleneck, but also cultivate an indestructible body. Of course, this is an exaggeration, but the effect will never let you down. How about it? I will save you until the end. This surprise is okay." Hearing Tang Ge's gentle words, and seeing the other party's eyes full of sincerity, Dime Yubei never thought that he would treat Tang Ge like that, and the other party would think of him. This made Dime Yubei's strength, that he had always pretended to be strong, instantly defeated at this moment. There were tears in his eyes, and his voice became hoarse. Thank you, Tang Ge. And I shouldn't, you don't need to say anything, Let's absorb the fairy medicine first and break through the bottleneck. Everything else is trivial. Tang Ge smiled and interrupted Dai Mubei's words. Dai Mubei nodded, resisting the urge to cry, and took the jade box over. He sat cross-legged on the ground after eating all the stamens and petals of the strange velvet Tongshan chrysanthemum. But at the moment before closing his eyes to practice, Dai Mubei suddenly yelled. Boss Tang, this is the first time I call you Boss Tang from the bottom of my heart, and you are also the only one that I, Dai Mubei, recognize in my life. Being able to get to know you, Boss Tang, my life, Dai Mubei, is worth it. Okay, let's concentrate on training. Tang Ge nodded with a gentle smile. Only then did Dai Mubei close his eyes, and began to absorb the medicinal power of the fairy grass, and the fluctuations of the soul power on his body also gradually increased. For a moment, Tang Ge and Xiao Wu were the only ones standing awake. But Xiao Wu's heart was tied to Tang San, and she didn't pay attention to other people at all. So Tang Ge couldn't help showing a smug smile in the end of this chapter. Chapter 193. From entering Shrek Academy until now, Dai Mubei and Zhu Xiuqing have never said anything about their respective identities and backgrounds, as well as the relationship between the two. But Tang Ge knew that Dai Mubei was the prince of the Star Luo Empire, and Zhu Xiuqing was from the noble Zhu family of the Star Luo Empire. The two of them have been engaged since childhood. It's just that it's obvious that neither Dai Mubei nor Zhu Xiuqing wants to make their fate comfortable, so they both left the Star Luo Empire and came to the Heaven Dao Empire to study. According to the original plot, Zhu Xiuqing will gradually accept Dai Mubei during the process of getting along with each other, and finally choose to be together. But it's a pity that Tang Ge is here now. And Zhu Xiuqing also couldn't resist Tang Ge's charm. Dai Mubei's place had already been lost with a single heart. Tang Ge was completely left alone. It is precisely because of seeing this point that after recognizing Zhu Xiuqing's identity, Dai Mubei competes with Tang Ge everywhere, hoping to change his position in Zhu Xiuqing's heart. It's just that the ideal is full, but the reality is cruel. After Tang Ge exploded with monstrous talent and unparalleled personal charm, Dai Mubei finally realized that he couldn't compare with the other party at all. Even if he has the status of the prince of the Star Luo Empire, it will not help at all. Tang Ge was naturally aware of this. But he didn't say anything, and he didn't take the initiative to mention that Dai Mubei should give up as soon as possible. After all, the best victory is to let the opponent surrender without bloodshed. And now, after a series of suppressions and blows in terms of strength, and after Tang Ge showed Boss Tang's courage and took out the key velvet Tongshan chrysanthemum, Dai Mubei was finally completely defeated by reality. Even if the other party didn't say what he said just now, when the other party mentioned Zhu Xiuqing, Tang Ge knew what the other party was going to say. For a while, he looked at Dai Mubei, who had closed his eyes and started to absorb the medicine, couldn't help laughing and muttering. Second brother, second child, everything you and I do, Boss Tang, is for your own good. After all, your charm, Boss Tang, is recognized. Compete with me, I'm afraid you will lose even your pants in the end. People have to be self-aware. Next, because everyone is taking precious fairy grasses, the medicinal effects are very strong, and it may take a long time to absorb them. So Tang Ge didn't go to other places, and sat cross-legged on the ground to meditate. Then Ning Rongrong, who was hiding in the room, also ran out and sat beside him, but she just leaned her little head on his shoulder and fell asleep while sitting. This made Tang Ge dumbfounded, but he didn't wake Ning Rongrong up. It can be seen from her tired face that in the past 6 months, she has been practicing with all her strength just like other students. In this way, time passed slowly. Unknowingly, afternoon, it came to the afternoon again. As the sunset went west, the sky was immediately reflected by the charming sunset glow. During the period, the 9 Shrek monsters who took the jelly grass all changed in different situations. Especially due to the influence of the white tiger spirit, Dai Mubei not only grew a layer of white hair on his body, but also lay down on the ground. As his limbs nearly doubled in size, the crackling sound of bones continued to emanate from his body. This situation may have frightened the other students of the passing college, and soon alarmed the senior management of the college, and then Flender and the master rushed over after hearing the news. But after Tang Ge explained the situation, and saw that even Tang San was practicing with immortal grass, the two of them felt relieved. Originally there were only Tang Ge, Ning Rongrong, and Xiao Wu in the 3-person guarding army, and Flender and Yu Xiaogang were added again. Fortunately, this boring waiting did not continue. Seeing that the dinner was about to be missed, accompanied by the first comfortable groan, like a fuse, suddenly bursts of groan sounded one after another. Tang Ge couldn't help being speechless for a while when he heard it, and said, "Just wake up, why make such a sound, what's wrong with the sound?" Ning Rongrong sitting next to him didn't know why, so he asked innocently. Tang Ge raised his eyebrows, and was about to tease Ning Rongrong, when Flender, who was sitting a few meters away, suddenly coughed twice and gave him another hard look. This kid. It's starting to make jokes here again. Seeing the warning in Dean Flender's eyes, Tang Ge could only shrug and choose to give up. Just at this time, the 9 Shrek monsters who were cultivating opened their eyes as the last medicine was absorbed. Seeing this, Flender ignored Tang Ge, looked directly at Mu Bei, and asked expectantly, "Mu Bei, how are you, Dean? The bottleneck has been broken, and the 4th spirit ring can be integrated at any time." Mu Bei experienced the situation of his own soul power, and said excitedly on his face. Speaking of this, he couldn't help but look at Tang Ge, with gratitude in his eyes. After hearing this, Flender was also very happy. Immediately afterwards, he looked at the others and asked, "What about you? Don't be stunned, tell me about your situation." I'll come first. I was level 33 before, and now I am level 38, a full 5-level increase, and I also feel that my soul power is improving much faster than before. Hearing Flender's urging, Oscar immediately rushed to speak. Especially when it comes to the matter of directly promoting to the 5th level, seeing his smug face, people who don't know would think that he became a titled Douluo overnight. Cut. I haven't even eaten fairy grass, and my soul power is already level 38, Ning Rongrong curled her lips and said in a low voice. Oh? Is this girl already level 38? It is indeed very fast. On the side, hearing Ning Rongrong's whisper, Tang Ge's eyes couldn't help being dumbfounded. At this time, after Oscar proudly announced his soul power level, Ma Hongjin, Zhu Huqing and Lin Yuchen also spoke about their situation one after another. Ma Hongjin, the current soul power level is 36. Zhu Huqing's current soul power level is 38. Lin Yuchen's current soul power level is 39. Tang San's current spirit power level is 37. However, after reporting their respective spirit power levels and improvement status, Tang San and Oscar seemed to have discussed it, and at the same time all their eyes fell on Tang Ge. Ma Hongjin couldn't help but asked, "Boss Tang, how strong are you now? With our current improvement speed, will we be able to catch up with you soon?" "Catch up with me? Brother, you think too much?" Tang Ge secretly laughed when he heard what Ma Hongjin said. Then he raised his eyebrows and said, "I really want to know? But I have to tell you in advance, you have to be prepared, otherwise the gap is too big and people will be desperate." "Will I, the majestic evil fire phoenix Ma Hongjin, despair? Boss Tang, just tell me, even if you tell me that you are already the sole emperor, I will not despair." As a result, Ma Hongjin patted his heart and said indifferently, "Ask for a monthly pass." End of this chapter. Chapter 194. Look, my soul ring really changes color. Among them, Tang San, Flender, and Yu Ziagang clearly knew Tang Ge's true strength. Just because of their understanding, seeing Ma Hongjin speaking nonchalantly at this moment, the eyes of the 3 of them suddenly revealed a touch of sympathy. "Fatty, you are finished." Ma Hongjin, who had just finished speaking, didn't know what the 3 of them were thinking, but he noticed the sympathetic eyes of the 3 of them looking at him. This made him puzzled, but at the same time he couldn't help but felt a sudden feeling that something was wrong, so he couldn't help opening his mouth tentatively. "Did I say something wrong?" "You didn't say anything wrong. We were wrong and shouldn't know you." Hearing Ma Hongjin's inquiry, Tang San shook his head and said solemnly. Then Xiao Wu next to Tang San couldn't help laughing. Little San would actually say such a thing. The eyes of the others looking at Tang San were also full of strangeness. "Third brother, you have changed. You are no longer the sincere and friendly third brother I knew before." After Ma Hongjin came back to his senses, he said with a grievance on his face. When Ma Hongjin said this, Tang San couldn't help blushing, and couldn't help but look at Tang Ge, who was watching the excitement. "Depend on. What the hell are you looking at me for? It's not that I taught you to say that." Tang Ge noticed the look in Tang San's eyes, his heart skipped a beat, and he couldn't help cursing secretly. At the same time, he spoke for Ma Hongjin and said, "Fatty is right, Xiao-san, you are drifting now. It's time for you to reflect on yourself." "Yes. Boss Tang is right, third brother, you are too drifting, so hurry up and reflect on yourself." As a staunch supporter of Tang Ge, Oscar also jumped out, taking Tang San seriously. In the end, even Daimyo Bei couldn't help but speak. Little San, I still hope that you can return to the sincere, friendly and humble person you were before, Tang San, Ma Hongjin. At this time, because the previous training by the Shrek 9 monsters had caused too much commotion, it had already attracted the attention of many academy students. Soon, dozens of people stayed in the 4 weeks, and the number of people was increasing. Aware of this situation, coupled with the fact that Tang San was being bullied by a group of people, he was at a loss for what to do. It was Yu Xiaogang who couldn't stand the sudden change in painting style and stood up directly. Okay, since everyone has finished their cultivation, go to dinner and rest early, and try to consolidate your cultivation results in the next few days. Tang Ge, come with me, Senior Douluo wants to see you. Tang San had escaped from the depressed mood just now, and nodded immediately after hearing Yu Xiaogang's words. Immediately, he and Yu Xiaogang left here first. Immediately under Flender's urging, Daimyo Bei, Oscar and others also went to the academy cafeteria together. Suddenly, only Tang Ge and Flender were left here. Because they wanted to talk about something, they went directly to Tang Ge's residence. As the door closed, Flender's eyes were filled with relief and helplessness when he looked at Tang Ge. What is gratifying is that as the dean all his life, he can receive such an excellent student, so he doesn't have to worry about it at all. But precisely because he was too good, Flender seemed extremely helpless. After all, compared with Tang San and Daimyo Bei's students, Tang Ge's progress is really too fast. Even with Flender's current cultivation of soul power, he can no longer afford to teach Tang Ge. More importantly, he even suspected that if the two fought, he would definitely lose. This made Flender couldn't help feeling jealous, looked at Tang Ge and said, "You won't blame me for ruining your pretending plan, will you? Hey, I didn't expect the dean to even know how to pretend to be B once." It really impresses the students. Tang Ge raised his eyebrows, and couldn't help but tease with a smile. "Go away you boy." In the end, Flender couldn't help but kick Tang Ge's ass. But then he resumed his usual seriousness, and said, "I learned from Xia as a child, your fighting power to suppress and beat Senior Douluo really shocked me. No matter how you do it, it's always your secret, and I won't ask. But as the dean, I hope you can remember that title Douluo in this world is not invincible, and there are some people who don't want a genius like you to grow up. So you have to learn to hide your clumsiness, don't tell us or your classmates about everything. This is not only good for you, but also a kind of protection for Tang San and the others." "Tang Ge, do you understand what I mean?" "Of course I understand, isn't it just pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger?" "Dean, don't worry, I'm the best at this matter." After listening to Dean Flender's reminder, Tang Ge patted his heart and said confidently. But what he said made Flender very speechless. "Pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger? I think you are a real pig, the kind who is afraid that others will not know how fat you are." Of course, Flender just dared to think in his heart, he was afraid that Tang Ge would beat him into a pig after he said it. After all, if the opponent even dares to fight title Douluo, would he be afraid of this little soul saint who is not even a soul Douluo? Thinking of this, Flender couldn't help sighing again. Seeing this, Tang Ge asked with some doubts, "Does the dean have other worries? After half a year, the Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy competition will be held. I originally wanted you to lead the team to participate, but your spirit power is improving too fast. If I hadn't considered the feelings of other students, I would have wanted you to graduate right now. After all, keeping you wouldn't be able to win glory for our Shrek Academy in the competition." Speaking of this, Flender was groaning for a while. But Tang Ge couldn't help raising his eyebrows after hearing this, with a strange smile on his face, said, "In fact, it is not impossible for me to lead the team to participate in the competition. How is it possible, your kid's soul power?" Regarding Tang Ge's words, Flender refuted without thinking. But before he finished speaking, Tang Ge suddenly revealed the Wuhan Mountain River Shiji map. Immediately following his feed, 5 pitch-black soul rings emerged one after another, immediately pulling the entire room into pitch-black shadows. It would be fine if that was all, but what Flender saw next made his eyes widen involuntarily, his face full of shock and disbelief. Snapped. Accompanied by Tang Ge's snapping of his fingers, under his smug smile, the 5 Daowanin that originally surrounded his body began to change color at this moment. The first 10,000-year spirit ring changed from black to white. The second 10,000-year spirit ring turned yellow. The third 10,000-year spirit ring was still yellow. The fourth and fifth spirit rings turned purple at the same time. 1 white, 2 yellow and 2 purple. At this moment, Tang Ge proved with facts that his soul ring can really change color. End of this chapter. Period. Chapter 195 Goal. 10-year spirit ring. Not only that, but as the color of Tang Ge's soul ring changed, the room that was originally engulfed in darkness suddenly became colorful. Flender blinked his eyes, swallowed again, and finally came back to his senses. Immediately, he said in disbelief, Tang Ge, you're Dean. I didn't daydream. Did I see the color of your soul ring change? Listening to the system prompt sounding in his mind, Tang Ge couldn't help but smile lightly in the face of Flender's question. Dean, you are not daydreaming. You did see that the color of my soul ring has changed. How about it? Is this color okay? How about I change it for you again? Having said that, his actions did not stop. Then, under Flender's constipated expression as if he had eaten Tang Ge's soul ring, which was white, yellow and purple, began to change color again. For a while it was 2 whites, 1 purple and 2 blacks, and for a while it was 2 yellows, 2 purples and 1 black. Even Tang Ge felt that this was not exciting, and as he smiled complacently, the originally colorful room was instantly swallowed up by the dazzling red light. When he saw Tang Ge's 5-colored soul ring, Flender almost bit off his tongue in fright. Muzz. Even the 10-year soul ring has come out. Maybe this kid can use this ability to scare people now? In the end, he waved his hand to stop Tang Ge from continuing to change the color of the soul ring, and said, powerless as if he had done something, okay, that's it, I trust you, swish. As Flender spoke, the crimson light that filled the room instantly faded away, and he directly took back the 5 10,000-year spirit rings surrounding Tang Ge. He looked at Flender and said with a smile, Dean, I can even change the color of the soul ring, so I can lead the team to participate in the competition. With such an ability, I believe that I can still win the game while pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger if I take a lighter shot at that time. Hearing Tang Ge's words, Flender was slightly moved. After all, he still believed in Tang Ge's strength. If this kid can take the 9 Shrek monsters to participate in the competition, let alone win the qualifiers, he might even persist until the end to win the championship. It's just the opponent's current soul power. Thinking of this, Flender almost ignored one thing, and quickly asked, by the way, Tang Ge, what level is your soul power now? It's already level 60, Tang Ge said. After hearing this, Flender nodded subconsciously, it's level, and, as a result, before he finished speaking, he suddenly came to his senses, and then looked at Tang Ge in shock, and said, You just said that you are level, that's right. At level, you only need to fuse a soul ring to be promoted to Soul Emperor. Is there any problem with that? Tang Ge said with a strange face. Hearing what he said, level, seems to be a matter of course. But you have to know that this is a 12-year-old at the, level. If you go forward 1,000 years on the entire continent, there will probably not be such a monstrous genius appearing, right? For a moment, Flender couldn't help but smile bitterly and said, it seems that I was right to stop telling about my soul power just now, otherwise if those children knew about it, how desperate would they be? Now that I'm facing you, I'm starting to despair a little bit. At this moment, Flender even felt that. Compared with Tang Ge, a man in his 50s who was still a soul sage could really live like a dog. After getting 2 waves of wool from Flender in succession, Tang Ge was secretly very satisfied. Then, looking at Flender, who was about to lose his confidence after being hit, he immediately smiled and comforted him. Dean, I feel that Senior Douluo is even more desperate than you right now, so you don't have to worry too much about it. Are you talking about comforting people? Hearing Tang Ge's words, Flender couldn't laugh or cry. But think about it, even a titled Douluo like Senior Douluo was so angry by Tang Ge that he could only hide and vent by himself. Why does he think so much about a little soul saint? Thinking of this, Flender felt that his mood really improved a lot. However, considering that Tang Ge's soul power is already at level, he still decided, since your soul power is already at level, then after 2 days, we will set off with Dime Yubei to find the suitable soul for both of you, ring it. In addition, although the All-Continent Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite Competition has no restrictions on the level of soul power, your age is also suitable, but once you fuse the 6th soul ring, your soul power level will also reach the Soul Emperor. In the past, there has never been a Soul Emperor of your age in the Soul Master competition, so you don't have to participate in the competition. After all, compared to the champion of the competition, I hope to see you become the youngest titled Douluo on this continent sooner. Speaking of this, Flender's voice couldn't help being too loud, and when he looked at Tang Ge, his eyes were also full of hot light. When Tang Ge heard Flender's decision, he naturally had no objection. It's just that after Flender left here, 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Tang Ge, who was supposed to go out with Flender, Dai Mubei and the others, did not follow, but chose to stay in the academy. Although his soul power is already at level, he confused the 6th soul ring. But with the ability of Shrek Academy, even if the Golden Iron Triangle unites to use the martial soul fusion technique, they can hunt and kill 10,000-year-old soul beasts at most. However, with the awakening rate of the ancient sacred body reaching 19%, the age of the strongest soul ring that Tang Ge can withstand has been greatly increased, and it has already surpassed the 10,000-year level. So he directly limited the age of the 6th soul ring to 10 years. But unfortunately, not to mention that Shrek Academy simply doesn't have the ability to hunt 10-year-old soul beasts, and there are only a handful of known 10-year-old soul beasts. It is impossible for Tang Ge to find a 10-year soul beast that suits him in a short time. In desperation, he stopped the cultivation of soul power first, and could only pin his hopes on the lottery draw in the heavens, hoping to draw a soul ring that suits him. However, based on the previous experience of 10 consecutive draws, Tang Ge felt that this time he would still get what he wanted. Thinking of this, he immediately said to Flender, "Dean, there is no rush for my 6th spirit ring, but I already have a plan in mind, so you don't have to worry. Since you already have a plan, I won't persuade you anymore. During this period of my absence, you and Tang San should get acquainted with the environment of the new academy." Hearing Tang Ge's words, Flender could only nod his head. But immediately he looked at Ma Hongjin and Oscar's group who came to see them off. Seeing the listless look of these children, he couldn't help snorting immediately. "Look at your appearance, can you hold your head up and chest out for me? It's really embarrassing to Shrek Academy." Just at this time, another group of students from Shyandao Royal Academy passed by. As a result, when they saw the academy uniforms they were wearing, Oscar and the others who had just cheered up suddenly lost their momentum and became even more listless. Ask for a monthly pass. End of this chapter. Chapter 196. Are you Tyrone? Tang Ge couldn't laugh or cry when he saw this. Seeing that Flender was about to lose his temper, he quickly said, "Dean, you don't need to worry about it here. I will train them well later and improve their spirit. Time is precious now, so you, Dean Erlong, and Grandmaster Take Mubei to find the soul beast first. Go early and return early. Did you hear that? You all learned from Tang Ge, and I'll be satisfied with his 1000th attitude. Erlong Mei, Zia Gang, Mubei, let's go." In the end, he gave Oscar and the others a hard look. Flender stopped talking nonsense, and walked quickly towards the Heaven Dao Emperor together with Yu Zia-gang and the others. As soon as people left, Oscar and the others breathed a sigh of relief. But immediately, the eyes of these people full of resentment fell on Tang Ge. Ningrongrong pinched his waist even more, and said angrily, "Tang Ge, if you stand and talk without back pain, look at the school uniform of Shyandao Academy, and then look at ours. Can you be energetic? You also said that you want to train us. How about you also wear the same school uniform as ours? It's really disgusting." That's it, Mo Hongjin followed suit. But when he saw Tang Ge's staring eyes, he immediately shrank back in fright. But let alone, the Shrek Academy school uniform that Flender personally handled is really unique. The whole is green, and there is also a mixture of top yellow. Could this be the legendary shit yellow? Seeing Ningrongrong and Oscar, who wanted to take off but couldn't take it off and could only cover their faces, Tang Ge wanted to laugh, but he still endured it. He coughed, pretending to be serious, and said, "Actually, if you look closely, the school uniform designed by the dean is pretty. Listen. Listen. Does this speak human words? If you are capable, when Tang Ge is saying this, can you please put on your school uniform first, then touch your own conscience? Does it hurt?" Everyone was completely speechless about Tang Ge's behavior of lying without blushing. It's just who made the dean partial. Obviously everyone is a student of Shrek Academy, but Tang Ge can't even wear school uniform. But Tang San and Xiao Wu had to wear them, and they had to be neatly dressed. Sure enough, weak strength means no human rights. But for some reason, I suddenly felt an inexplicable desire to beat Tang Ge up. Thinking of this, as if they had discussed it, the eyes of Tang San and the others looking at Tang Ge were suddenly filled with malicious intentions. Even Lin Yuchen and Ning Rongrong looked excited and eager to try. Tang Ge noticed that these people looked at him unkindly, and couldn't help shivering. He hurriedly said, "Don't waste time, class will start soon, let's go back to the academy." After finishing speaking, regardless of whether Tang San and the others agreed or not, Tang Ge turned around and fled to the distance at the fastest speed. After fleeing for more than 10 meters, there was a burst of excited shouts behind him. Boss Tang ran away, catch up with him and beat him up. Tang San and Seven originally wanted to unite and beat Tang Ge up. But it's a pity that Tang Ge's speed is too fast. When they chased to the academy panting, the other party had already been waiting for a long time. Coupled with the many students around and the appearance of teachers, Tang San and the others had no choice but to choose to give up. Fortunately, the new school uniform designed by Dean Flender has been directly spread to the entire academy, and everyone is wearing this school uniform. That's why Tang San and the others immediately felt a lot more balanced. After all, Tang Ge, who is fine without wearing a school uniform, is just an exception. Just like that, as the class time drew closer, the Shrek 9 monsters walked towards the academy's advanced class together. There's only one advanced class in the entire college, with less than 40 students, some of whom are almost 30 years old. So the Shrek 9 monsters who are only 12 or 13 years old are very attractive in the entire advanced class. Especially today, when the Shrek 9 monsters walked into the class, the students who were chatting and laughing instantly fell silent. Oscar and Ma Hongjin originally wanted to say hello to the beautiful female classmates, but when they found out who they were paying attention to, they suddenly became extremely depressed. Sure enough, he shouldn't have come with Boss Tang. Because at this moment, whether it was a male student or a female student, their eyes were all focused on Tang Ge, who is not wearing a school uniform. The expressions of amazement, jealousy and obsession in those eyes all indicate one thing. Tang Ge became the brightest kid in the senior class. It has to be said that after half a year of retreat, with the improvement of the ancient holy body, both Tang Ge's body and appearance are getting closer and closer to the perfect state. Now that he was standing here, his charm was continuously transmitted outward like electromagnetic waves, and all the female students in the class were suddenly shocked. Their pretty faces turned extremely red. If there were not 3 more beautiful girls, Ning Rongrong and Lin Yuchen, standing next to Tang Ge, these female students probably couldn't help running over to strike up a conversation with Tang Ge. HMPH, a group of older leftover girls, Tang Ge won't like you. Seeing this situation, Ning Rongrong couldn't help but let out a low snort of dissatisfaction. And for fear that Tang Ge would be snatched away, she walked forward and stood in front of Tang Ge, as if swearing sovereignty. Tang Ge, whose vision was blocked by Ning Rongrong, couldn't laugh or cry. However, he didn't forget what he had planned before, so after scanning dozens of students in the classroom, he stopped directly on one of the strong young people. Because there are other students sitting around this strong young man, he is faintly the leader, plus he has a strong aura, so he is also very conspicuous in the classroom. Finally, after locking onto this burly young man, Tang Ge immediately passed Ning Rongrong, who was standing in front of him, and walked towards him directly. Following his movements for a while, the eyes of the whole group couldn't help but follow him. The burly young man was also puzzled when he saw Tang Ge walking straight towards him. It wasn't until the other party came up to him and stopped that he couldn't help asking, "Student, what do you want? You are Tyrone." Tang Ge didn't answer the strong young man's words, but asked rhetorically. The strong young man was even more confused. It seemed that it was the first time he saw this classmate who didn't wear a school uniform when he entered the class, but the handsomeness of the other party even made him feel a little jealous. But there are so many classmates in the classroom. Why did the other party find me all of a sudden? And the other party actually knew his name. Is it because of the fame? Thinking of his identity as the chief of the academy, the strong young man suddenly felt a little proud. So he nodded. "I am Tyrone, that's right." After being confirmed by the strong young man, a happy smile suddenly appeared on Tang Ge's originally calm face. Then before the other party could react, he suddenly reached out and grabbed the other party's collar. End of this chapter. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Period. Chapter 197. Don't worry about me, you guys continue. The burly young man's name is Tai Long, and he is the chief student of Lamba Academy, which is now the entire students' body of Shrek Academy. Such a title represents his status as the strongest student. So Tai Long never thought of daring anyone to provoke him, and he was still a freshman who had never met before. When the other party suddenly reached out to grab his collar, he realized that the other party was coming in a bad way, and he couldn't help but immediately burst out his own strength talent to break free from the other party's grasp. But the result? Tai Long actually found that he couldn't shake the other party at all, which made him frown instantly, couldn't help suppressing his violent emotions, and asked, "This classmate, have I, Tai Long, offended you before? It's the first time we meet, how can we talk about offending or not?" Tang Ge said with a smile. Tai Long felt the irritability that he had just suppressed surged up again, and he almost gritted his teeth and said, "Since you have never offended me, then you want to take away the position of the chief of the academy from me. Sorry, I don't like your status as the chief of the academy." Tang Ge continued to smile and shook his head. Tyrone, no matter how stupid he is now, he can fully see that the other party is thinking about finding fault. "Don't say anything, let's shine your martial soul." Immediately following the violent fluctuation of soul power, Tai Long, who looked very strong at first, swelled a little again, and his arms were extended and hung down to his knees. Black hair grew everywhere on his body. Roar. Finally, accompanied by a low growl, behind Tai Long was an imaginary gorilla condensed, and it kept hitting his heart with a hammer-like fist. A surging and powerful aura emanated from him. For a moment, Tai Long's face was full of incomparable confidence. Facing the rookie in front of him who dared to provoke him, he couldn't help saying loudly, "I, Tai Long, a powerful orangutan with a martial spirit, a level 37 assault-type battle soul master, please advise, not far behind." Oscar and the others who came in with Tang Ge also saw this scene, but they were very confused at the moment. What happened? Isn't Boss Tang coming to be a teacher for the first time? Why did he suddenly find Tai Long, a strong man, for no reason? However, when he noticed Xiao Wu's excited look about rushing to fight, Mo Hongjin's eyes lit up, and he slapped his head suddenly to realize. I see. Boss Tang must have known in advance that Tai Long has been pestering Xiao Wu recently, so he came to the classroom specially to teach Tai Long a lesson. Fatty, what you said seems quite reasonable. But, even if you want to vent your anger on Xiao Wu, should it be the third brother who comes forward? Could it be that Boss Tang also likes Xiao Wu? Oscar couldn't help but also spoke. But as soon as he said these words, the atmosphere among the seven suddenly became awkward. Xiao Wu, who was implicated innocently, pinched her waist and stared at Oscar, angrily said, "Uncle Sausage, what nonsense are you talking about? Tang Ge doesn't like me." Oscar also reacted at this time. He couldn't help giving a shy smile, and said awkwardly to the calm Tang San, "Third brother, don't be angry, I was talking nonsense just now, it's okay, we're all classmates. There's nothing wrong with Tang Ge venting out for Xiao Wu, isn't there?" Tang San showed a gentle smile on his calm face, shook his head and said. But no one noticed that his right hand, which was inadvertently turned behind his back, was already tightly clenched. Same. The 30 or so students in the whole class didn't pay attention to Tang San and Xiao Wu, but all focused on Tang Ge and Tai Long. Especially after seeing Tai Long brighten his martial soul, these people became extremely excited. The most handsome and strongest students collide together. They really want to see who can win the final victory. Soon, a burst of shouts filled the entire class. "Come on, Tyrone, beat this new impolite brat, hit him, Talon, this classmate is really handsome. I don't know if he can beat Tai Long, but even if he loses, don't hurt this handsome face." Listening to the support from the students around him, Tai Long couldn't help showing a satisfied smile on his face. After showing his martial soul, he became in no hurry to break free from Singer Tang, and said calmly, "Student, show your martial soul. Even if you want to challenge me, you have to let me know your strength, right? Otherwise, people would think that I, Tai Long, are bullying the newcomers. Sorry, I didn't seem to have made it clear just now, I came this time just to beat you up." After the words fell, before Tai Long could react, Tang Ge suddenly exerted force on the right hand holding the opponent's collar, and then twisted his body and threw it directly behind him. "What? I was brought up?" Tai Long finally came to his senses when he found himself in midair. and feeling the terrifying power continuously transmitted from the opponent's arm, he suddenly found that even his soul power and martial soul were suppressed. At this moment, Tai Long suddenly realized that he had encountered a strong enemy. Facing the ground getting closer and closer, he couldn't help shouting, "Release me! Why are you yelling so loudly? Be honest with me." Tang Ge, who was holding on to Tai Long's collar, couldn't help but use his left hand to pick out his uncomfortable ear, and after a dissatisfied grunt, he increased his strength with his right hand again. Then, accompanied by a dull impact sound, Tai Long, who was swung up, could not escape his bad luck, and hit the ground hard on his back. The whole classroom trembled violently at this moment. Not only that, after Tai Long hit the ground, Tang Ge didn't give him a chance to react at all. He lifted it up again and threw it to the ground fiercely a bit, twice, 3 times. In the end, Tai Long was completely reduced to a whip, and under the disbelieving eyes of more than 30 students in the classroom, Tang Ge started to throw it on the ground continuously. At the same time, along with Tai Long's shrill screams, bursts of system prompts kept ringing in Tang Ge's mind. Ding dong, congratulations to the host, you shocked Li Hao, and gained, shock points. Ding dong, congratulations to the host, you shocked Zharong, and gained, shock points. Listening to the system prompts that kept ringing, Tang Ge shook harder and harder. As for Tai Long, he could only scream and be beaten at the same time. That face that was acceptable before had already turned into a pig's face. But for a moment, he seemed to see a figure walking in from outside the classroom. When he saw the opponent's face clearly, Tai Long couldn't help shouting excitedly as if he had seen a savior. "Teacher Xiaozin, save me!" Hearing Tai Long's cry for help, Xiaozin, the former Shrek Academy cook who just came in, did not expect a fight to happen in the classroom. He was about to yell at him to stop him, but when he saw that Tang Ge was one of the people involved, he swallowed back the words he originally wanted to yell at. Under the unbelievable expressions of other students, Xiaozin said decisively, "Go ahead, don't worry about me, I'll go out for a while." After speaking, he turned around and left the classroom, immediately asked for a monthly pass. End of this chapter. Period. Chapter 198. Tyrone's father, Tai Long didn't expect this result at all. After seeing teacher Xiaozin who had just entered, he turned and hurried out of the classroom. He finally reacted. Immediately, another burst of shrill roars sounded in the classroom. "Teacher Xiaozin, save me! Teacher Xiaozin, you can't just leave me here, save me, Teacher Xiaozin!" Hearing Tai Long's tragic cry from behind, Xiaozin, who was dressed as a cook, walked faster, and at the same time, he was so depressed that he was dying. "What's wrong with Tyrone? Why did he offend Tang Ge for no reason?" Hearing his voice, it sounded like he had some deep hatred. Xiaozin, knew about what happened between Tang Ge and the titled Douluo Dugubo from Xiaozin, and asked him to go up and save someone from Tang Ge. Didn't he call him to beat him up? No. Hurry up and slip away. After a while, Xiaozin's chubby figure disappeared from the sight of all the students in the classroom. Then, under Tang Ge's satisfied expression, another burst of system prompts began to ring in his mind. Ding dong, congratulations to the host, you shocked Sun Wu and gained, shock points. Ding dong, congratulations to the host, you shocked Wang Ke and gained, shock points. Ding dong, congratulations to the host, you shocked Miao Miao and gained, shock points. In a short while, Tang Ge's shock value, which had already broken through the 15 mark, surged up again by tens of thousands of points, reaching, points. This made him even have an urge to come to class and fight Tai Long every day. Hitting Tai Long was shocked. It was wonderful. Of course, Tang Ge also knew that too much was too much. If he really does this, once or twice is fine, but it may not be effective if there are too many times. For example, Tang San and the 7 people stood behind and watched for so long, but they didn't provide any shock value at all, because they were numb due to too many shocks. In the end, I thought that the shock value I had obtained was almost the same, and it was not good to bully others and honest children like this. So Tang Ge just stopped and continued to squeeze Tai Long. Immediately afterwards, he kindly mobilized the vitality in the martial spirit Shan Shiji map to treat Tai Long's injuries kindly. Just for comparison, Tang Ge only left Tai Long's red and swollen face without treatment. This made Tai Long feel so depressed that he almost vomited blood. But what made him feel even more uncomfortable was the severe beating he suffered today for no reason. And he still hasn't figured out where he offended the other party. Could it be that the other party really just wanted to beat him up? Thinking of this, Tai Long felt a little unwilling. So he endured the pain on his face and looked at Tang Ge, gritted his teeth and said, "This classmate, you beat me up. You must let me know your name and the level of your soul power." "Right, my name is Tang Ge, you can call me Brother Tang. As for the level of soul power, I think you should not know it, for fear of hurting you." Tang Ge smiled. "Beat me for no reason and let me call you Brother Tang? Want to fart, brother?" Tai Long's eyes nearly popped out of anger at Tang Ge's words. But at this time, Shaozhen, the cook who had left, came in again from the outside. Seeing that the battle situation had been decided and there were no casualties, he couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. Then he straightened his face and said extremely sternly, "How loud is the noise in the classroom? Sit down for me and get ready for class. HMPH, just wait for me. This matter won't just be left alone." Hearing Shaozhen's scolding, Tai Long could only talk about this harsh word, and obediently returned to his seat. A flash of satisfaction flashed in Tang Ge's eyes, and he sat down with Tang San and the others in another vacant seat. After seeing that everyone was quiet, Shaozhen, the cook, began to explain the course. Time passed quickly, and it was already noon by the end of this class. Tai Long didn't know if it was because he was afraid of losing face that he left the academy without eating. Tang Ge and his group of 8 went to the college cafeteria together. But after the meal, everyone separated directly. Because the 40th level was getting closer and closer, Oscar, Ma Hongjin, Lin Yujin, and Zhu Ziuqing all chose to stay in the academy to practice in order to become soul sect as soon as possible. And Tang San accompanied Xiao Wu out of the academy to play in the Heaven Dao Imperial City. Ning Rongrong also said that she wanted to go home and asked Tang Ge to go back with her. But Tang Ge refused, and Ning Rongrong could only leave sullenly alone. So in the end, among the 8 people who were originally together, only Tang Ge was left with nothing to do for the time being. Looking at the time, Tang Ge came directly to the entrance of the college when he felt that it was almost time. Then, under the twitching expression of the teacher on duty at the door, he took out a recliner from the system space with ease, put it on the ground, and lay down on it. "Student Tang Ge, who are you?" The teacher on duty looked at the instantly shrinking space around him, and finally couldn't help asking. Obviously he recognized Tang Ge, and he also knew that the senior Douluo came to the academy with this little guy. So for Tang Ge, the teacher on duty didn't have any contempt for him. When Tang Ge heard the teacher on duty's question, he turned his head and smiled, and said, "Teacher, you can go back to eat, I'll help you look over here. It just so happens that I have nothing to do in the afternoon, so you don't have to come, teacher. You help me watch, are you so kind?" the teacher on duty said suspiciously. Tang Ge rolled his eyes, pretending to be angry and said, "Teacher, what you said is wrong. Why do I have such a good heart? I have always been very kind." Okay, teacher knows your kindness. Since you want to stay here so much, then teacher, I will really leave. Let's go." Tang Ge waved his hand and said impatiently. The teacher on duty couldn't laugh or cry when he saw this, but he still believed in Tang Ge very much. So he just explained some things to pay attention to, and left directly. Seeing the back of the teacher on duty leaving, Tang Ge closed his eyes and began to rest with a smile on his face. But not long after, a burst of loud shouting suddenly broke the tranquility of the afternoon. "Who is Tang Ge? Get out of here quickly." The sound was so loud that it woke up Tang Ge, who was sleeping. When he frowned and opened his eyes, what he saw were 2 figures walking quickly from a distance. One of them was none other than Tyrone, who had left without lunch. But now he has a bitter face, and he is completely dragged forward by the middle-aged man beside him. And this middle-aged man is obviously Tai Long's father, Tai Nuo. After seeing the 2 of them clearly, Tang Ge couldn't help laughing, thinking to himself. Sure enough, the son was beaten, and the father followed. End of this chapter. Period. Chapter 199. That's it. Ask for a monthly pass. At the same time, other students passing by the entrance of the college also recognized Tai Long. Especially when they saw Tai Long's bluish-purple face and the angry middle-aged man next to him, these students couldn't help discussing in a low voice. "Isn't this Senior Tai Long? What happened to him?" "You don't know. I heard that a new student beat up Senior Tai Long, and it was very miserable." "Huh? What's the matter?" Now he called his father directly. Is he going to let his father avenge him? Who knows? But this new student's name Tang Ge is about to be unlucky. Hearing the discussions of the students in the college, Tai Long was really ashamed and wanted to find a crack in the ground and sneak in. But he can't do anything, he can't hold back his father even if he wants to come. However, as he got closer to the gate of the college, Tai Long couldn't help but persuade him, "Dad, this is a matter between me and my classmates, so don't get meddled, okay? HMPH, if I don't come, wouldn't your beating be in vain? Can you avenge yourself?" Tai Yuo turned his head and glared at Tai Long, with a look of disappointment on his face. This is very sad to say. Tai Long, who originally wanted to work harder, immediately chose silence wisely. He couldn't help but secretly said in his heart, "Tang Ge, don't blame me for my dad beating you up. Who told you to bully me?" But just thinking of this, Tai Long inadvertently looked at the reclining chair not far away, and his heart suddenly beat violently. He pulled his father's clothes in a panic, and said in a low voice, "Dad, Tang Ge is, what's the matter? That brat named Tang Ge, get out of the academy quickly." Tai Yuo ignored Tai Long, and continued to yell at Shrek Academy at the top of his voice. Tai Long panicked even more, and pulled his father's clothes again. "Dad, I mean Tang Ge," snapped. In the end, before Tai Long finished speaking, the impatient Tai Yuo turned around and slapped him on the head. The crisp sound made Tai Long feel a little dazed, and even looked at Tai Yuo with an aggrieved expression. "Dad, why are you hitting me? How can I beat you? I'm your father, can't I beat you?" Tang Ge, what do you mean by talking about it? Your father, I know that the boy who beat you is called Tang Ge, so I don't need you to remind me. Speaking of this, Tai Yuo became more and more angry when he looked at Tai Long, who had a thick head, and couldn't help but slap the opponent's head with a slap. At this time, Tang Ge, who had been lying on the recliner not far away, couldn't help it anymore, and laughed out loud. The laughter came out, which immediately attracted Tai Yuo's attention. When Tai Yuo saw Tang Ge sitting up from the recliner with a smile on his face, he couldn't help staring, and said viciously, "Little guy, I'll teach my son a lesson." "Why are you laughing?" "I don't know why, but I just can't help but want to laugh. What should I do?" "Ahoha." Suddenly, Tang Ge held his stomach again and couldn't help laughing. Looking at Tang Ge, who was laughing out loud, black lines appeared all over Tai Yuo's head. There's something wrong with this kid's brain. But beside Tai Yuo, Tai Long couldn't help reaching out and tugging at his clothes, and said what he wanted to say in one breath. "Dad, he's my classmate Tang Ge." The clothes were pulled. Tai Yuo instinctively raised his palm again. But he immediately realized, and couldn't help but said after hearing Tai Long's words, "What did you just say?" "Say it again." "This is my classmate Tang Ge." Tyrone accentuated his tone. At this moment, Tai Yuo couldn't help but gasped. "Great. I was really careless. My face was thrown on the ground by myself like this." Then he gritted his teeth, and immediately clapped down his raised palm. Snapped. Hearing a crisp sound, Tai Long was accidentally shot, and his whole body was slapped on the ground. Accompanied by the buzzing sound beside his ears, a thought that he had never thought of suddenly appeared in his mind. Is Tyrone really my father's own? At this time, Tai Yuo's attention had shifted to Tang Ge again. As Tang Ge stopped laughing, he immediately raised his voice and said, "Boy, my son was beaten up by you without any vendetta against you, so it's not too much for me to beat you up now, right?" As he said that, his right hand like a cattail fan had landed on Tang Ge's shoulder. As soon as he exerted his strength, he could faintly hear the sound of creaking bones being pinched. But from the beginning to the end, Tang Ge kept a smile on his face. Facing Tai Yuo's words, he nodded and said, "Senior is right, it's not too much at all, huh? This kid has some tricks." Seeing that Tang Ge could still speak with a smile at this time, Tai Yuo couldn't help being secretly surprised. Immediately, he increased his strength again, trying to lift the opponent up and throw him to the ground like Tang Ge bullied his son. But in the end, despite his continuous efforts, he was still unable to lift the other party up. Not far behind, Tai Long, who was lying on the ground, happened to see the scene. Thinking of what happened to him in the classroom before, he panicked inexplicably, and couldn't help but yelled out loudly, "Dad, don't be careless, use the martial spirit and spirit ring quickly, to deal with a child who is only 13 years old. You let your father and I use martial arts and soul rings? You are shameless, your father and I are shameless." Hearing his sons shouting behind him, Tai Yuo thought contemptuously. But before the thought passed, he felt as if someone had grabbed his collar, and at the same time felt that his feet were off the ground. When Tang Yuo found out that he was really mentioned by the little guy named Tang Ge in front of him, his indifferent face suddenly became panicked. Strong orangutan, he quickly roared, and as the martial soul emerged from behind, 5 soul rings appeared one after another under his feet, 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 1 black. A surging and quite oppressive breath was released continuously. If other students were here at this moment, after being shocked by Tang Yuo's aura, they would definitely kneel. But it's a pity that Tang Ge is already much stronger than Tang Yuo in terms of soul power level. So facing Tang Yuo, who showed his martial spirit and spirit ring one after another, he was not only fine, but also laughed. That's it? A look of disbelief appeared on Tang Yuo's face. Then, with the impact of a terrifying force, he instantly felt that the world turned upside down in front of him. Boom. Immediately after a loud bang, Tang Ge threw Tang Yuo to the ground as hard as Tai Long. At this moment, Tang Yuo suddenly realized that he was cheated by his own son. But unfortunately, it was completely late when he realized this. Under Tang Ge's absolute suppressing power, even if Tang Yuo's martial spirit and soul ring were released, it would be of no avail. Ever since, he also turned into a human stick, which was thrown down by Tang Jilin. Immediately, the entire entrance of the academy began to tremble violently. End of this chapter. Period. Chapter 200. Wait, I'll call my grandpa. Because there was a lot of yelling before Tylenol, and it was still after dinner. So at the gate of the college, many college students were quickly attracted. Not only did they recognize Tai Long, but they also knew the strength of Tai Long's father, Tang Yuo. But what did the students watching now see? They actually saw Tai Long's father, a true soul king, after showing off his martial soul and soul ring, but he still couldn't do anything to a young man. In other words, in the hands of that young man who seemed to be a new student of the academy, Tang Yuo had no ability to resist at all. Boom, 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 boom. Accompanied by the continuous sound of impact, the originally flat ground at the entrance of the college soon became uneven. The onlookers had already widened their eyes, staring blankly at this scene. As for Tai Long, who just reminded himself of his father, he couldn't help covering his eyes and face with his hands. He suddenly feels so ashamed now. At the same time, Tang Ge, who was raging on Talino, heard bursts of system prompts in his mind. Ding dong, congratulations to the host, you shocked Queen Nian and gained, shock points. Ding dong, congratulations to the host, you shocked Zhou Peng and gained, shock points. Ding dong, congratulations to the host, you shocked Tai Long and gained, shock points. Ding dong, congratulations to the host, shocked Tino, and gained, shock points. In the end, Tainadalin and his son even contributed, points of contribution. Tang Ge was extremely satisfied with this. So in view of these shock values, he still saved face for Tang Yuo after all, and let go of his hand immediately after smashing the other party into the ground with the last blow. After a while, Tang Yuo stood up from the pit unsteadily. But at this moment, he didn't have the strong momentum when he first came. He was completely disheartened, and his whole body, including his face, was blue and purple. Seeing this scene, the onlookers couldn't help but burst out laughing. Tang Yuo slowly woke up with his dazed head, and when he heard the bursts of laughter and saw himself in a mess, his body trembled from anger. Yu, staring fixedly at Tang Ge, who was also smiling not far away, Tang Yuo almost ran away. But after Tai Long reacted behind him, he rushed over and grabbed Tang Yuo's arm. Dad, don't be impulsive. Don't be impulsive, I have just been repaired by someone, you tell me not to be impulsive? Are you my son? Tang Yuo was already very aggrieved, but now he heard Tai Long's persuasion, his heart suddenly exploded with anger. Snapped. Accompanied by cursing, he suddenly raised his hand and patted Tai Long's head again. But this time, Tai Long had already guarded against his father's slap. Before Tang Yuo's palm fell, he jumped 3 or 4 meters away. Looking at Tang Yuo, Tai Long rushed directly to his head in a burst of anger, and immediately refuted loudly angrily. I told you not to come, but you wanted to come, but you were beaten up by my classmates, but you blamed me instead? Do you think I am your son? I still wonder if you are my father. Look at you, it's because of your carelessness that you let so many classmates see our jokes. If Grandpa finds out, he will definitely break your leg. What these words said was that Tang Yuo's eyelids were twitching, and the twitching all over his body became more and more severe. Finally, he suddenly roared and said angrily, "How dare you say I'm not your father? I'll break your legs before I talk, Tang Ge." "Wait, I'll call my grandpa." Seeing that his father seemed to be really angry, Tai Long screamed in fright, and fled towards the distance. "Dare to call your grandpa, I will break your third leg." Tai Yuo chased after him with anger on his face. In the blink of an eye, the two disappeared at the gate of the academy. Seeing this, Tang Ge smiled and did not stop him, nor did he go back to the academy. After all, he promised the teacher on duty to watch the gate for the other party, so he kept his promise and lay down on his recliner again. Immediately, Tang Ge took out another table and put it beside him, put the usual fruit on it, and waited comfortably while eating. This made the onlookers envious, and wish they could have such a life. "I just think that others can rub the Soul King with his martial soul and soul ring on the ground with bare hands, but he is still working hard on how to be promoted to the Soul King as soon as possible." These students immediately dispersed with sighs, continued to attend classes, and practiced. But after a while, the tranquility of the past was restored outside Shrek Academy. "Little brat, if you run again, I will really break your third leg." In a deserted block in Xiandao Imperial City, seeing his son running farther and farther, Tai Yuo, who had just been beaten up, was exhausted and had to stop. He couldn't help but yelled. Tai Long, who was running in front of him, slammed on the brakes and stopped. Looking back at his father with a bruised nose and swollen face, he wanted to laugh but didn't dare. In the end, he could only hold back his mouth and say, "Dad, I didn't say those things just to give you an excuse to leave. You really remember your son's revenge." Hearing this, Tai Yuo's face twitched. "Does this mean that I still need to thank my son?" But he still resisted the urge to get angry, frowned and snorted, "Even so, just leave." "What do you mean by calling your grandpa?" "That's what it means. You have stood up for your son. You can't let grandpa watch his son and grandson being bullied and ignore it, right?" Tyrone said as a matter of course. It's just that if these words were put before being beaten, Tai Yuo would still agree very much. But now he was the one to avenge his son, but the revenge failed and he was beaten again by the other party. If this kind of thing gets out, it will be like losing face to himself and his family. If the old man finds out again, he might break his own leg in a fit of anger, right? Thinking of this, Tai Yuo immediately trembled, and his whole body immediately became sober. He hurriedly said, "After all, this is just a matter between you and your classmates. It would be embarrassing enough for me to intervene. How could I bother your grandpa anymore? I made the decision for you. Let's forget about this matter. You go back and apologize to your classmate. Maybe he will forgive you." "Let me apologize." Hearing his father's words, Tai Long's eyes widened immediately, with an incredulous expression on his face. He was obviously the victim in this matter. Why should he be asked to apologize? Could it be that this guy in front of me is really not my own father? Otherwise, how could he say such a thing? Tai Long was full of resentment. But just when he was about to protest strongly, his dark eyes suddenly lit up. And he couldn't help shouting in surprise. "Grandpa, why are you here?" End of this chapter. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.